General. Pakaipa guys. Pakaipa. Maona tafunga kuti nhasi timbopfeka mupfekero wedu wakare, mupfekero wakudhara. Tichiona kuti zvinofambiswa sei kupfeka kwedu kwakare, kushonga kwedu kwakudhara. Nechigubhu chedu chemvura parutivi kuti zvifambe naye. Nhasi mugovera Saturday. Today is Saturday. Mugovera. Today is Saturday, where I thought let me go get into my fatigue attire and engage the people of Zimbabwe so that people understand where we are coming from and where we are going. One thing that brings us together as Zimbabweans, this flag, the country that we call Zimbabwe, is one thing that brings you and me together. It's one thing that makes me every day discuss issues about Zimbabwe. We want to talk about Zimbabwe because Zimbabwe is a nation which encompasses every tribe, encompasses everyone. There is no one who can say this country is mine. So this is why you see we spend days, nights and so forth talking about Zimbabwe. We spend long days talking about Zimbabwe. Zvirise 𝗠𝘃𝗶𝗺𝗯 Trevor zvirikufamba here. TK anzi murisei ndakasimba mwana wamai masikora sei 𝗠𝘃𝗶𝗵𝗁 ndakanaka ndakasimba. Wallace KZ zvirisei. I salute you all, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I've got a discussion that I want to embark on. Quite a lot of people say different things about Zimbabwe. So this is time that we must look into some of these things that are said by some Zimbabweans. Zvirise 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Dantemba Magadi. Salute you all generals, all those in Zimbabwe. Regai ndikusalute, regai ndikukudze. It's not easy to be in Zimbabwe at this juncture, where 2 liters of cooking oil is going for $7 US. According to the president of Zimbabwe, he said the promotion in ZPS. I've seen the promotions is so pathetic. Most of the people who were promoted in ZPS are those in 1996, 1997 crew, and they have reached the retirement age. It's so pathetic. I'm going to talk about it. Ndakasimba zvirise ichichi makadi mese wana Zimbabwe. Ndakasimba ndamboona short video kamaisa talent chiwenga masikada achitaura chokwadi. Definitely he was saying something of value. He was talking about ndane time usingapfeke fatigue. Quite a long time without wearing this fatigue uniform. The fatigue. It's nothing to do with the military. This is not British colors in terms of military, but this is fatigue. Atopinisa magarden kana tinoraura kuhoyo tinoraura toenda kunoraurisa ndo yatopfeka kunokata kunoraura. Tatenda chawira zvirise tinoti ngapinde ake mukomana ngapinde uri komando. Thanks mukoma chichi. Zviri kufamba here. Saka tine discussion yatoda kutaura nhasi. Ukwana ndapfeka fatigue, like military gear or fatigue. Most of the time tichida kutaura about Zimbabwe defense forces. Today I'm not focusing on prison, I'm not focusing on the army, I'm focusing on the police force, the Zimbabwe police force. this is what I'm going to focus much on. And there are quite a number of former police officers on this platform, and we've got former soldiers on this platform. We have got serving soldiers again on this platform. We have got serving policemen, prison officers, or members of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. We have got serving members here. So we are going to touch most things that you guys are familiar with in regard to Zimbabwe Republic Police. I'm not going to dwell much today, or I'm not going to spend a lot of time today discussing things happening in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a wonder nation where things that people don't think will happen in the world does happen. So maona madhonga akakwizwa ngoro chikochikari chichidonzwa nemotikari vachienda kwavanga vachienda. That can only happen in Zimbabwe, man. You will never see it anywhere in the world. A donkey's duty is to pull that scotch card and it mon chikochikari Brandon is really saying one of my salute. So in 𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃, Conte was ousted by the army. When Conte was ousted by the army general or the head of the military in Guinea has been sworn as the new president. Conte has been removed by force. Why Guinea removed Conte by force? It's because he tried to change the constitution of the country, and he was always using the military to his advantage. When he was using the military to his advantage, he changed the constitution of the country. Instead of standing 2 terms, he wanted to stand for the 3rd term to become life president. If you look at someone who's nearing his 90 years of age, who continue to ruin the country and wants to stand for a 3rd presidential term whilst his term expired, this is something that the military looked into and said, look, this man does not warrant to be president of Guinea because his term is expired and he is looking for a 3rd term. We won't allow that to happen. So Humphrey Magadi. So what happened in Guinea is the army took over power by force, what we call a coup d'etat, and then they put 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁. I thought that guy could be Shona or Rotonga. The name 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁, Mama Do 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁, Mama D 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁, Mama Do 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁. He was the army general, just like Chwenga, who took over control of Guinea Conakry. So he is now the president of that country. I know he doesn't have people mandate, but perhaps it's good for the people of Guinea. If they had suffered the same fate like Zimbabweans, then you would say, yes, let the general take over power and control a country. The good part in Guinea Conakry is the general Mamadou 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁 is not going to stand election. He is saying he's there for a period of transition where a government of transition will be set that will prepare for a free and fair election, and that election will be run. Whoever wins, Mamadou 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁 is not going to stand for election because he is just there to save the people of Guinea. Let's hope he will do it in a manner that will satisfy every citizen in Guinea. Unlike what we witnessed in Zimbabwe. The problem that I find with the world is they are condemning Mamadou 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗃𝗁. They are condemning him to say that we don't allow governments to be removed by force or by coup. Surprisingly, the same people condemning 𝗏𝘏𝗁𝗏𝘂𝗁, Mamadou 𝗏𝘂𝗁𝗏𝗏 are the same people who gave a thumb up for the removal of Robert Mugabe by the military. So these are double standards that are happening today in the world. That in Guinea-Conakry, the regime is not being recognized because they usurped control by force. That is in Guinea-Conakry. In Zimbabwe, where Mugabe was removed by force, those nations who are condemning the Guinea government today, they gave a thumb up to say, let Robert Mugabe be removed. And they condemned Conakry. They can't condemn Harare. The same coup, peaceful coup, that happened in Guinea-Conakry is the same peaceful coup that happened in Zimbabwe. But surprisingly, in Zimbabwe, there was a thumbs up. In Guinea-Conakry, there was no thumbs up. They are condemning Mamad Domboya to say, why did you take over that country by force? The same problems that we faced in Zimbabwe, where a president will change constitution to allow him to run that country forever. Mugabe became a life president, just like 𝗤𝘃𝗵𝗁. So when he became a life president, the people of Zimbabwe were not happy at all. And they marched assisting the army to take over control of Zimbabwe. Similar to what happened in Guinea-Conakry. Surprisingly, in Guinea, the world is condemning Mamad Domboya. And in Zimbabwe, they gave a coup a thumbs up. So these are double standards of international countries, or of the Western countries, or of whoever is involved, the United Nations, the ECOWAS, whoever is involved. These are double standards. And they were threatening to go and remove the general by force, to deploy soldiers and fight the general, to hand over power to a dictator. Surprisingly, they did not do the same in Harare, where Mugabe was removed by the military. Not even SADC sent troops to protect Mugabe. And he became isolated. He cried for help and nobody came to help Mugabe. But in Guinea-Conakry, they are. Mamad Domboya said he's not going to hurt the former president. He is even showing you him covering well, wearing nice clothes to say, look, here is the man. We didn't want him to continue with the third term. So this is why we removed this man, and we want a government set up, a government of the people. A transition government that will see a fair and fair elections being held in Zimbabwe, in Guinea-Conakry. That is not the same case with Harare. So looking at that, I've got a very interesting article that I need to analyze here, which was written by Dr. Mavaza. Dr. Mavaza, we all know who Mavaza is. To me, I call him a brother. I call him my brother, Dr. Mavaza. I call him my brother because we have got no differences at all. And he writes his articles and put them on social media. So sometimes these are articles that we should be visiting, looking into. We sometimes, I see, articles amonyora mdara anamsoro zvachose, because he is trying to paint a saint picture of Zimbabwe Republic Police. Zimbabwe Republic Police is not an independent police force. That one is a police force. It's not a police service. This is why you see everything that they do is militant, because it is a police force, which is not a police service. And the constitution of Zimbabwe, it needs that police force to change to police service, because a police force is the one that is using force in Zimbabwe, is the one that is abusing human rights in Zimbabwe. Surprisingly, Mkoma wangu Mdara Mavaza dzinonyora kuti dzakavata mudhara dzinenge dzakavata dziadzi dzinenge dzonyora dzakavata kuvata chaiko chaka ndakati mudhara akavata dzoda kumutswa kunzi mudhara imbomukai zvishomanini kana muchiona chimboonai zviri kuitika kuZimbabwe. Sometimes hatimupe mhosva because paakatiza kuZimbabwe paakabva kuZimbabwe mudhara akatiza kudhara zvakaisara zvichiitwa neZRP havana kuzviona kana dzichiona mapicture achibuda evanhu vakaurawa vanhu vari kutochwa vamwe vacho vachitotochwa mumapolice camp. Saka mudhara Mavhaza doesn't know that mapurisa being deployed to kill. A good example, a friend of mine was killed by a combined operation of police, prison, CIO, Nema veterans. I'm talking about Tondera Indira, who was killed by elements from the police force. Then, surprisingly, Mdara Mavhaza, anotaura kuti Zimbabwe Republic Police does not abuse human rights. So I don't really know what he understands about human rights. I don't know what he understands about human rights or how he understands about human rights. No, I'll sort it out. I didn't know. It all depends. He lacks insight exactly into what human rights are. You have seen MDC Alliance, women being brutalized by the police force. You have seen those people arrested by ZRP being brutalized by the police force. We have seen some Zimbabweans, innocent Zimbabweans, being shot and killed by the police force. So sometimes Mdara Mavhaza probably doesn't know what the term human rights stand for. I've his article here that he penned, that he wrote, where he said ZRP does not abuse human rights. And he is writing like an alien. He's writing like someone who does not live in, who is not a Zimbabwean. Someone who just pick up a phone, call Zimbabwe, ask Zimbabwe public relations officer, how is your human rights record? Obvious. There is nothing that can come out from public relations officer where ZRP. Anongokutaurirai zvakanaka zvaanenge achifunga kuti zvakanaka. But isusu vanoona, isusu maZimbabweans who see human rights abuses, we are the correct people to point out these abuses, not abuser. Abuser will never point out abuses, but abuses are pointed out by the victims. Are you okay, man?
Yeah. Have you got a spare adapter?
No.
Okay, fine.
I didn't murukona nyaya tukutaura, guys. Mgoma ebi magadi. So today I need to talk about human rights abuses in Zimbabwe by Zimbabwe Republic Police, which certain individuals do not see, or they just lack an insight into what human rights are. Because if you see a police force chikanda a tear gas in a bus full of passengers, chasing a bus 75-seater full of passengers, chasing it, and then caught up with it, threw a tear gas into where children are. Because tear gas must not be used in a confined area if you want to disperse the crowd. But we saw Zimbabwe Republic Police throwing tear gas. The incident has happened for the second time. One in Beit Bridge, the other one near Showground in Harare. And nothing has been done to those rogue policemen who throw tear gas in a bus full of children, full of women. Vakomana tear gas kuvakadzi rinopinda nekwese. Vakadzi vanovaviwa kwese, vanovaviwa. Vandoshaya kuti kwenya sei vana baba varipo. Andiri muri kuona. The economy drops with the human rights abuses. Exactly. If you are in government and you start abusing people, atetani, how are you? Ndakasimba mwana wamai. Saka you find if you are a government, if you start abusing citizens of a country, the people who contribute to the development of or to the growth of economy, then there is a problem. As even the division of the police are misleading. I saw support unit and riot police as different branches. Not sure where he gets this from. Yeah, he is not well informed about Zimbabwe Republic Police. He is not well informed at all. Whatever he is writing, he's just penning it probably for the benefit of ZANU-PF, or he wants to hoodwink someone to think that things are normal in Zimbabwe. Things are abnormal in Zimbabwe. The police force that we have does abuse human rights. They don't respect citizens of a country. They don't respect the rights of citizens of Zimbabwe. This is why you see they go and beat up MDC people. They've never beat up ZANU-PF supporters. Never. They even escort ZANU-PF supporters to attack MDC people. Chama Mapumo Zirise, watching from Cape Town. Thank you so much. Definitely Atete Beulah. We are on the correct path of democracy. So, Dr. Masimba Mavaza is a brother of mine, but he lacks insight into the Zimbabwe Republic Police operations and everything. He lacks insight into what we call human rights abuses. And dzakamboshanda samagistrate ndofunga dzaingokanda kana vanhu vaya vanonga vanzi abaswiti muAsdam dzongokanda kujeri, because hadzinyatsoziva kuti the impact or the value of a sweet compared nemunhu apwanya kana kuti abamota. Dzinongoti theft is theft. Theft of a motor vehicle and the theft of a sweet or pickpocketing is the same. Ndopa munoona kuti vanhu vakadaro avo mungavaita mamagistrate munenge mauraya nyika. Ndo majaji amuri kuona ari kuZimbabwe. Andi makazoona vamwe sisi vedu vachida vakaapply kuita jaji kuNamibia, vakubvunzwa the issue of human rights. She failed to explain what she understands by the word human rights, by the term human rights. A lot of people do not understand it. So the ignorance shown by Mdara Mavaza, Masimba Mavaza, on his article or in his article, this is shocking. It is not supposed to be said by a person who carries a title doctor. Because once you are a doctor, a professor, people expect a lot of critical thinking, critical reasoning. If you are a doctor, you must show critical reasoning. If you doesn't show critical reasoning, people will begin to question your credentials, whether you are a properly trained doctor. Because kudara kuZimbabwe ukati doctor unonga kutofunga kuti ya anobaya majekiseni chete. No, kune madoctors mamwe asingabaya majekiseni. Doctor of philosophy, doctor of forensics, doctor of a lot of doctorate degrees being offered. So your credentials, Mdara Mavaza, Masimba Mavaza, aman kavanoziva mdara wangu tag him here ndabomtsvaga pana umona. Tag him here ndaida kuti pano discussa anenge achiterera achinzwa kuti if you are a doctor uri munhu anotarisirwa to be critical when writing some articles, because if you write that ZRP does not abuse human rights, this is not a correct topic. First of all, Mdara Mavaza, you should not put such a topic and say you have critically written something that will highlight issues that are happening in Zimbabwe. Honestly, already your headline condemns your doctorate. You can't be a doctor if you can only headline, you know, the ZRP does not abuse human rights. A journalist cannot write this rubbish in Gomong. So I'm going to look critically into your work so that people understand when we say human rights abuses. We are trying to highlight certain issues so that Imimi Mdara Mavaza mu understand though. But I see problem yako Mdara. Sometimes it happens out of ignorance. Kusaziva chako or a limitation of or a limited knowledge. Gonna konzera kuti ufunge kuti zvandanyora ndizvo chaizvo. But because of your knowledge is limited. Your knowledge of an organization is limited. Hanzi naMukoma-Themba, does he know the red medal and being border Gezi ZANU sympathizers is the route to promotion to competence? All senior police officers on critical positions are war veterans, not educated and competent police officers. Maenda kure Mdara, ingomuudza yekuti Mdara Mavaza, tikutaura nezvaMdara Godwin Matanga, haana grade 7 yakanyora, haana JC yakanyora, haana O level yakanyora. Akangonoridza SKS kusango akadzoka akaita Commissioner General of Police Force. He is not even educated. We've got a very good example of Moses Chiwovu, who is now the Commissioner General of Prison. He can't read and write. Anditi maona. Hanzi kaona uchiri kusapota ZANU haungarambi kuti unopenga. Tizere kunyika dzavamwe nokuda kwezANU. 2023 zviri kupera ndakazviona muno muZambia. Tinokunda mwana wamai zivanai kwirirai. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for the insight. So, sometimes Mdara Mavaza dzakanyora because obvious this is not from an informed point of view. It is just an article like Ngano Dzana Tsuro na Gudu. Ndosaka maona ndaitaura ndikati problem yatinayo kuZimbabwe is takaita vakuru vakudhara vanga vasina a method of writing their history. Instead they used to pass on Ngano dzatsuro na Gudu. Waitokaona sekuru vakagara nevazukuru mumba havasi kumbofa vakataura nhoroondo yefamily yavo, havasi kuzombofa vakataura nhoroondo yenyika. Vanenge vaitaura kuti paivapo Tsuro na Gudu akanga ari sekuru nemuzukuru. Isitodaidzira kuti dzepfunde. Ukada kufunga, if you sit down and think deeply, critically, how can a baboon be related to a monkey? How can a baboon be related to a rabbit? Sorry, a monkey they can. But how can a baboon be related to a rabbit? Kuti Gudu akanga ari hanzvadzi yamai vaTsuro. Obviously amai vaTsuro iTsuro ka. But Gudu harikazoite hanzvadzi yamai vaTsuro chirudzi. Saka you see these stories dzatakakura tichinzwa dzana Gudu naTsuro. Idzo ndo nyaya dzaitaitwa passed on sevana veZimbabwe. Hanzi I dropped history in high school. Marara chaiyo. Inini ndakatoisiya pandakangopinda form 3 ndabva ndati history handichada. Because ndaiverengeswa zvana Chikuyo Chisamarengu, ananyatsimba Mutota, ana munhu Mutapa, chinzi amene aenda unotsvaga nyanga dzenzou, achinotsvaga sauti kuna Zambezi. Ndozvataiverengeswa izvozvo, wonzoenda unonyora. Saka ndakati kwete zvandidi. Ndakuita human and social biology. Kana neshona yacho ndakabva ndaijamuka futi. Saka nyaya yatiri kutaura ndeyekuti the history that was passed on to us by our parents, it was not a written history. It was about Tsuro and Gudu. And you wonder how these two are related. Mumwe ainzi ndisekuru, mumwe achinzi muzukuru. Mumwe aifamba nemakumbo 2, mumwe aifamba nemakumbo 4. Mumwe aikwira muti, mumwe asingagona kukwira muti. Mumwe aiti akabika doro okwira nemakate edoro, muti unonwa doro, vari muti mumwe akatarisa ari pasi. Mumwe akabika doro akapisa musha wese achizari sekuru anofamba nemakumbo 4. Vakauya vakasviba kana naye munogeza, vakadzoka vakasviba naye munogeza, doro rakapera vachifamba kunogeza maoko. You understand? Ndo ngano dzatakakura tichinzwa. Saka such articles by Mdara Masimba Mavaza ndakaona dzoda kunyora sterk articles, but hadzisi kunyora zvinhu zviri relevant to the struggle of Zimbabwe. He is writing things that are irrelevant to Zimbabwe issues. A good example is he's telling the world, he's telling Zimbabweans who are in Zimbabwe, who are victims of ZRP, that ZRP does not abuse human rights. He is writing this article, he's putting it on social media, so that victims of ZRP will read this. And those victims, a good example is me, will start to ask, does this man live in Zimbabwe? Is this man a Zimbabwean? Does he have knowledge of what ZRP is? Does he know the difference between a force and a service? Does he know the meaning of the term human rights? And this is Mdara wangu Mavaza, and Dr. 𝗥𝗶𝗄𝗿. Those with an idea, you might tell me. kuti ndombopinda naye pano timbomubvunza. Vane idea yekuti Mudara Mavhasa ndi doctor wechii mogona kundibatsira. Tine ma-doctors of education, tine ma-doctor of this and that, doctor of philosophy, tine ma-doctor of stupidity as well. Handisi kuti Mudara wangu ari stupid, but anogona kuva nedoctorate yestupidity. Because kukaenda kuSouth Africa kunotove ma-doctor of stupidity, kotouya ma-doctor esangoma, ng'anga. Kune ma-doctors eung'anga kuSouth Africa. And he is based in America. No. He's not based in America. Zirimunom is based in the United Kingdom. He worked as a magistrate in this country. In England. He's based in England, not America. And that one, Yuda, was ironic. Hidden stories, not literal meaning. I get your view, though. These animals, people in Zimbabwe knew well. This Ngano Mdara, a folk materials, ngano dzataiudzwa nana sekuru. Atinabva tambouzwa kunzi chaka akanga akaita sei kana munhu mutapa wacho. Vana sekuru vedu kuRungo vakasikatomboziva about munhu mutapa. They used to tell us about kadhimba. And kadhimba pane dzimwe ngano chazoyamwe musi ndozokuudza ingano chete. Ticheuchidzana kuti pane vakaudzwawo ngano idzodzo here. So ndakambori kwadabura nemakwati ndakambori kwadabura and so forth. But they did not tell us things that matter. Saka that idea yekuti we were not told or taught things that matters. This idea has been taken over by Mudara Mavhasa, Masimba Mavhasa. And he is writing those tales dzanatsuro nagudo. Because kana uchinyorera kuti hanzi 𝗤𝘃𝗃 does not abuse human rights. Whilst you are giving victims of 𝗤𝘃𝗃 to read. Those who were brutalized by 𝗤𝘃𝗃 in Harare. Those who were brutalized by 𝗤𝘃𝗃, who were shot by the police. We saw the police men vabata marifles vachiridza pfuti vachipfura vanhu in 1 August, on the 1st of August. And on the 14th of January, we saw 𝗤𝘃𝗃, which is supposed to protect the people. And these guys went on to shoot innocent people. Vaingoridza pfuti vachipfura vanhu locations, and then someone just brush aside or take that, sweep it under the carpet, paint a good picture of Zimbabwe Republic Police. Saka hanzi na mukoma wangu na mudara wangu Masimba Mavhasa, the Zimbabwe Republic Police does not abuse human rights. It creates a conducive atmosphere for human rights upholding and to be seen to do this with integrity. Mngoma honest maseka oga. Sorry mngoma wangu. Tikuda kuti taure nyaya chaizo. 𝗤𝘃𝗃 haina integrity kutaurwa panapa. Haina. Andichatauri mazita. Mngoma Temba vanoziva munhu wandiri kutaura panapa. Asina kutaura zita. Takagara pasi tichikurukura nyaya True Battle Camp. Dzakabva dzaseka patakatanga nyaya yekutaura about 𝗥𝗲𝗁. Dzakaseka dzikati guys, taura nyaya 𝗥𝗲𝗁 kanzi isusu tichitanga kupinda kusupport unit. Ndisu taideployiwa kuenda kuMatabeleland kunodhira neissue yeGukurahundi. Zvikanzi inini ndakanga ndisiri kuuniform, ndaipfeka sieve. Ndisainoacta as dissidents in Matabeleland. Some of the dissidents we called dissidents in Matabeleland, these were police officers from support unit who operated as dissidents in Matabeleland. Ndikasaka maizvifambisa sezvikati taitoridzirana pfuti nemasoja. Chitiza. But masoja unge ve5th brigade vaitoziva kuti kune vanhu vanooperator like that. And tine maridzira ataiita pfuti ekuti vaiziva kuti this is friendly fire, haasi madissidents. But taifamba maruzeva tichirova vanhu, tichipfura vanhu, tichivataurira kuti iwewe muri kutitengesa, tichirova vanhu. Masoja ouya opfura futi vanhu ipapo kunzi makarega kutaura kuti madissidents anga ari pano. Pawanda conduct ani tairidza tine maridzira ataiita ekuti vaibva vaziva kuti friendly fire, tobva tatotiza tichienda. Bozi ndikabvunza vanhu vari panapa kuti kubva pakatanga hondo yekunzi madissidents. Madissidents mangana makaona akaurawa. Taingonzwa kuti Situtunyu abatwa, uyu ninga abatwa, takangona gwesela ndiwo takaona akafa akarembera, and nobody knew who this 𝗥𝗲𝘁𝗄𝗏 was. You understand? Saka, this 𝗤𝗏 has done a lot of damages to the country, particularly in human rights abuses. Their record is tainted, and you cannot say that 𝗤𝗏 has integrity. It never did its duties with integrity. Saka mdara mavaza, sometimes zongo nyora ngano zana tsurona, ngano zana tsurona gudwes. He lacks insight into what 𝗤𝗏 is. What he knows is about reading. Zvinonyorwawo about 𝗤𝗏 kana zvakanyusiya zvanyorwa nemabhunu about 𝗤𝗏 ndozvazoita. He was never a policeman. He has never joined the police service. Azitozivi kuti gumbo radzo releft neripi right kana kunomatchwa sei. Paunoti about ndikadzikafamba ndikazira about ndikadaidzira hapana zvadzinomboita because he doesn't know that language. Saka police kune language yako yekuti kana uri mupurisa kunyange uchinyora article unonyora zvekuti vanhu vanoziva kuti munhu akanga ari mupurisa. Ndikaitaura nyaya dzekujeri, you all understand kuti munhu aive muprison officer. Bo ndotaura zvimwe zviri deeper than your knowledge, things, common knowledge or common things. Ande muri kuona. Saka zviri kunyorwa nemukoma wangu izvi zvinhu zvinongonyorwa kana nambuya vangu kumusha vachikuya dovi, wototora penzura yavo wotomira vandonyora. Izvi ndo zvavanonyora izvi vachikuya dovi, because hazvina substance. You cannot write kuti hanzi they are seen to be an integral or they've got integrity. 𝗤𝗏. He went on to write to say the 𝗤𝗏 is only 4 months young than our nation. Hanzi yakazofomwa 4 years later after Zimbabwe yaita independence. It is the national police force having succeeded the British South African police on 1 August 1980. So sometimes ziri kutaura kuti pa 1 August 1980 ndo pakafomwa police force, but ziri kutaura kuti it is young than our nation. Ameno kuti mapanzwa here. Let's critically go through this article together. Shoes zviri sei muningina ndo maganda anga ana shoes apinda soto shoes andimona. And the 𝗤𝗏 is only 4 months young than our nation. It is the national police force having succeeded the British South African police on 1 August 1980. The police are powered by the motto, which is Latin. Right? Zvadzirikutaura izvi, he was not a policeman, but zvinhu zvaakaverenga kuti pane moto yechilatini inoshandiswa kupolisi. Ukatarisa paheti dzavo, ukatarisa pabheji repolisi, ndopa zvakaiswa ipapo rekuti pro leg, pro patria, pro populo, which is translated to mean for law. Because pro leg is just like legal, which goes for law. Then pro patria means for the country. Then populo for people. So he is saying our police force stands for the law, it stands for the country, and it stands for the people. If you go to Zimbabwe today and tell people this, then they will say you must be from Mars. You are not a Zimbabwean. Or you must have descended from hell to come and tell us that 𝗤𝗏 is for the law. Because there is no law that allows you to brutalize citizens. There is no law that allows you to shut up the country, to shut down the country as police force. There is law, there is no motto that allows you to go against the people of a country. Last time when they went, last time when they went to quell riots, people were not rioting. If police 𝗤𝗏 were for law, they were not going to leave that woman sprawling on the ground. But instead, they battered that woman and left her for dead. Not even one police officer managed to go and help that lady who was sprawling on the floor. Some of these things, I need to show you some pictures. ZRP brutality. I need to show you some pictures. So that if 𝗏𝗏𝗁 is writing that these people are for the law, then we would want to see why would ZRP allow this to happen. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here. Can you see this woman is sprawling on the ground? She was brutalized by ZRP. She was beaten by police. 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁, just inbox me, then I'll give you my WhatsApp number. Just inbox me. Even journalists were surprised. They came in thousands to come and take these pictures. This is Zimbabwe Republic Police which brutalized this woman. And someone is saying Zimbabwe Republic Police works with the dignity. There is no lawful force which does this to the innocent civilians, to the people of Zimbabwe. I think people can tag 𝗏𝗏𝗁. This is the Zimbabwe Republic Police. He referred to that. It stands for the law, it stands for the country, and it stands for the population, for the people. These are the people being brutalized. You see, this person is being brutalized. These are Zimbabwe Republic Police officers brutalizing this. This is not allowed at all. Hakuna police force yakadai inofamba nema-tear gas. This is a tear gas canister. Vachikanda mabhazi. You see, these people, they did not commit any crime. But you see police in action at Harvest House brutalizing them. These are some of the victims which were brutalized by police. And I don't think 𝗏𝗏𝗁 knows all this. This is a woman. Look, the purpose of quelling riots is to clear people, to let people run away, to let people flee. You cannot follow fleeing people like this, attacking them. Then if someone say ZRP does not brutalize people, or it does not commit human rights acts. And some of the things this is one of the Commissioner General Ushu Anons Godwin Matanga. Mdara cannot speak English. He can neither read nor write. Ana kana grade 7 yana yo mdara. Certificate ranaro ndrechiwo veteran rekwenda kwakaita kuhondo. And today he's the Commissioner General of the Police Force. So uyu mumo uyu ndakati dai ndaona munhu anogona kusakana poison kuuraya. Uyu munhu akandi brutalizer. This one anonzi makedenge akupenga. Ndakati Mwari hadhakwe. Mwari hadhakwe. Murume akandirova zvekuti nanhasi uyu ndine mavanga ekurwa nemurume uyu. Apa ndanga ndabva kunotochwa. Was handed over to the police. That was handed over to the police. He was the officer in charge where law and order in 2003 mdaro ainzi Matanga. Uya ainzi Makedenge. Ainzi Makedenge. Akupenga. Andimuona. Akupenga. Dayanga asinga brutalize vanhu. Andifunga kuti aipenga. This is the police force. Andimogona mbuya varukikwa butsa. Mupurisa, this is a policeman. Arikukika mbuya vabutsa. Imbonduza yedu mbuya vatadzeya. Vanonganirwa nemapurisa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 policemen. And one of the policemen is kicking 𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗁. This policeman is kicking this old lady. What has that old lady done to warrant such a kicking? After she was kicked, guys, I want you to see. This lady was kicked. Look now. She was kicked, a helpless lady, an armed lady. She's being brutalized by Zimbabwe Republic police officers. And she did not commit any crime. And she was left for dead. Look. She's pleading with them. And she was left for dead. No, varimapurisa ari kunzi namavhaza, they do not engage in human rights abuses. I want you to see the last picture before we go. Women, some of them with children at the back, being brutalized by Zimbabwe Republic police. Ndosaka manzwa ndataura ndikati mudhara mavhaza sometimes vari kunyora ngano dzagudo natsuro. Dzavari kunyora idzi ngano dzagudo natsuro. Sana ngoti regai ndikuratidzei vana veZimbabwe. That this is the brutality that I have been talking about. And this type of brutality should never happen in a country with a police service. So, Mudhara Mavaza vanyora vakati, Mavaza wrote, Dr. Mavaza wrote that the ZRP is for law, is for the country and for the people, which is Latin. He said the police is currently headed by Godwin Matanga, the Commissioner General of Police. I've shown you Godwin Matanga. The gentleman can't read or write. He can neither read nor write. Godwin Matanga. The police force is very professional. Whatever I've shown you as pictures, women, old women being brutalized, men and children being brutalized. I need to show you something else again. ZRP throws tear gas in a bus. I want to show you something because we are talking of professionalism. This is why that probably this old man Mudhara Mavaza probably is not well educated. He is a doctor, but could be doing this out of ignorance. Out of ignorance. Let me go on YouTube. Right. First of all, let me show you two incidents where ZRP threw tear gas in a bus full of children, in a bus full of women. Let me show you, ladies and gentlemen. We want things right. Look at this. Mulau's bus. This is a 75-seater bus that the police chased, catch up with the bus, threw tear gas in where children were, and some of the passengers were taken to hospital injured. This is something that we cannot call professionalism. This was the first incident of a bus where police threw tear gas in the bus. And the Mulau's bus is a second incident probably in 2 months. And it's more. Saka, let's see what my brother is writing. Mudhara wangu, so toda kumbatsira kuti mudhara amunyepe zvinhu zviri kuitika muchinyepera muchiudza ma victims of the police force. Azviitwe kana kuda kunyepa semunhu ane doctorate degree anogona kunyora something else dzichinyepa zvadzo. But this is an area where he is not familiar with. He is writing things that he doesn't know. Or you cannot defend ZANU-PF on such things because zvinhu zviri kuitika vanhu vakatarisa. Hazvina kuitika nguva dzana chikuyo chisamarengu guys. Zvekuti hatina evidence yekuti mbuya nani vakadimburwa musoro nani. Izvi zviri kuitika takatarisa. Handii muri kuona? Saka kana wakunyora ma-articles usanyepa zvinhu zvinoonekwa nevanhu. Because today we've got social media where we can counter whatever nonsense vanamudhara mavhaza right. Then we show people the truth. Then the whole world would know. Handii muona? Saka mudhara mavhaza, let's help him. Let's help him. Because I need to show you the first incident in a video. Then I'll show you the second incident in a video. I am going to show you the first incident which happened probably 9 months ago, where the police threw tear gas in a bus full of people. You see that video? That's the police. They can't even help. Look at people jumping off the bus, women and children. Some they broke their legs. Look at that. Old people jumping off this bus. Look at that. Can we guys see this? This is not professionalism at all. You cannot say Zimbabwe Republic Police are professionals. Look at that. And the police, they are just standing by. They can't even go to help those women. Look at that. Look at that. Some have broken legs, broken arms, jumping from heights. Look at that woman. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. People are filming. No one is going near to help. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He's dragging that man. Look at that. That's not professionalism at all. If this had happened in South Africa, I'm telling you, all those policemen would be dead by now. If this was South Africa, those policemen would be dead by now. You understand? This was the first incident. As if it is not enough, let's see the second incident in a spate of few months. Look at that. Look at that baby. Look at that baby. Look at that baby. Look at that baby, ladies and gentlemen. Did you see that baby collapsing? Look at that. People choking from tear smoke. No policemen near to help the victims. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that baby. Look at that baby. Children fainting. Children collapsing. Mothers crying. Look at that. Oh dear, I can't continue looking at this, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, I can't continue looking at this, and I can't believe that someone is saying this is a professional force. I can't continue looking at that, honestly. I might end up crying myself. I'm so sympathetic, I'm compassionate. I can't keep on looking at that, honestly. I can't keep on looking at that. I'm in tears right now. I'm in tears, ladies and gentlemen. I can't continue look at that. I can't, honestly. I've seen children collapsing from a bus, children who inhaled tear gas smoke, children fainting, women jumping off buses, women breaking legs, breaking hands, some having cracked skulls, running away from Zimbabwe Republic police who tear gassed a bus, a 75-seater bus full of passengers. This is where we say ZANU-PF is evil. I've cried. I don't want to lie. You have seen children inhaling tear gas smoke, children fainting, children taken to hospital, women jumping from bus windows, and tear gas, tears, and the pepper sprays and whips. When is the legally used in 𝗓𝘃? Thanks, Mkoma Dan. So, with everything that I've shown you, do you agree with the Dr. Mavasa's statement that the police is he is saying the police force is very professional? So probably he doesn't know the meaning of being professional. There is nothing professional from what I've shown you today. If you hear someone saying Zimbabwe Republic Police is very professional, then tell them that baglauf. You don't know the word professional. He said, and like in any other organization, there are some few rogue officers who have tried to tarnish the image of our police force. Because policemen, they work under orders. This is why I'm saying he has written from a Povo's point of view. Mr. Mavasa does not know that the police, they work on orders. You are not going to throw tear gas canisters when you are told not to. Even if you have got a firearm, you are not going to discharge that firearm if you are not given an order. So, Kunab Dr. Mavasa, what we call rogue elements are the Commissioner General of Police, are the war veterans commanding. But these are rogue elements. They are issuing illegal orders. All this throwing of tear gas into buses full of children, they are authorized by these officer in charges. They are authorized by these war veterans who have never been to school. And he just copied and pasted the way UK police works. He doesn't know 𝗓𝘃. It's a plagiarized article with edited insertions. Definitely, it is a plagiarized one. Because you cannot tell Zimbabweans that 𝗓𝘃 is a professional force. A professional force that throws tear gas in a bus full of children. That kicks old women who are not even armed. Then you call them professional. What you call rogue elements are elements like Godwin Matanga, who have never been to school, but he wants to be in charge of a police force. He can't align the operations of the police force with the constitution of a country. Then someone, Otongo Munga, Ashirotomoga, Ukutwara Mdara Mavaza, Kurotomoka, Mdara Wangu, Blaz Wangu, Zukurotomoka. Zukurotomoka, Mdara Mavaza, Mukai Mdara, Ope Zanyanya. I'm gonna 20 days, Murim, you came to 𝗏𝘁𝗄𝗏. Zukurotomoka. I didn't move. He went on. I'm going through the article that he penned, which Mngoma Themba said It's just a plagiarized article with edited insertions. He's trying to fit this into the operations of a rogue police force, a dissident police force. Because to the people of Zimbabwe, 𝗏𝗏𝗵 are dissidents. And 𝗏𝗏𝗵 don't use rubber bullets, don't use whips, and don't use tear gas guns. The department is 𝗏𝗏𝗁𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗵 as misinformed. Yeah, this is why 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵 is saying this is a plagiarized article. Because if you look at 𝗏𝗏𝗵, they don't use rubber bullets. They don't use whips. And they don't use tasers. Matesas they don't use them. They use live ammunition. They use AK assault rifles. They use most big shotguns with the live ammunition. That's what they use. They don't use rubber bullets. They don't use my whips. They don't use my tasers. So this is probably a plagiarized article. And let me go through it. He went on to say the police is divided into 4 main departments and 8 branches. Right? These are administration, boat squadron. Mkoma Dan. Tine boat squadron remu police force. Regaitinzwe. Masukura se mkoma yuda. Mkoma edi. Magadi. Pane mapurisa ari panapa. Saving police members. 𝗏𝗏𝗵 tibatsire. Kana mchishika mnoya ku inbox. Ex-policemen tibatsire panapa. Tine inonzi boat squadron ere ku police force. Iya waruti canine section, dog section. I know dog section tonight. Thanks 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵. Nopana nchishamisika kuti kana 𝗏𝗏𝗵 achiti tine boat squadron. Atina boat squadron. Tine sub aqua mZimbabwe. Atina boat squadron police force. Atina indro zvadaitora ndatoshamisika pandaverenga kuti anzi tine boat squadron. We don't have a boat squadron. We've got sub aqua. Yekuti ukanyura iwe vanongodaidzwa kumana upinda ukutsvaga kana vakushaya madivers ayobuda. Atina boat squadron. Iyi anoti canine squadron. Iri kunzi canine regaitone. Dara yarodhakwa. Anomweko mudhara. Mbomirai kumpa doro mbichana. Doro remaBritish rokuvadza iri. Dzomweko. Iyi anoti canine section. Asana mbonzwa ichinzi canine section. Ukatoenda uchitanga uri kuenda kuloma gundu uchibuda kunana marabra kumperi uko. Mabrain kumperi mabrain kumperi ku dog section. Akuna andakona kwakanzi canine, ndakona kwakanzi dog section. Anditi mona. Kozoya criminal investigations which has duty, meaning uniformed ones, and detectives known as CID. You'd go on 𝗏𝗏𝗵 website to see the sections. Alright, mkom. Mirai ndoenda ndikangorova apa. Mirai ndiitsvage. 𝗏𝗏𝗵 𝗏𝗏𝗵 sections. I think this will help us understand. Canine teeth. Dog section. Dog section. Zimbabwe Republic Police Canine Unit. Dog section. I think dzakangoenda panapa dzikanotora dzikaenda paWikipedia dzikangoplagiarize ipapa hadzina kumbobvunza. Dog training school, Old Mazoe Road. Yes. Thanks 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵. Dzakangoplagiarize mudhara idzi. Hadzina kumbonyatsoita kuita research yadzo kuti dzizobuda nearticle dzakango dzasiya construction adzitombozii kune 𝗏𝗏𝗃 kune construction unit adzitombozii dziri kungonyora regai tinzwe zvadziri kunyora paarticle pakaoma mukomadhani 𝗏𝗏𝗃 𝗏𝗏𝗃 squadron ameno dzakabudzwa nani information iyoyo regai tione where is staff branch hadzine mwe dzanyora panapa hanzi staff branch hadzitozivi hanzi kune internal security and investigation yepeace kwea police air wing, police support unit, riot squad. Hanzi kune police support unit mdara koze ya riot squad. Mdara unozanga unoda unyora article unobvunza kune mapurisa. Tine mapurisa akawanda stereki. Hanzi kune that's stupid. Taudziseka manje. Izvi guys zvinoita kuti uruze credibility, because if you are a doctor, we expect you to do your research. When you are coming up with an article, don't rush. There is no rush in Africa. Why rushing? Why rushing? Take your time. You've got an idea that you want people to know. Even if it is propaganda, they are the same unit. Support unit. Ne riot unit. Kune riot unit. Mapurisa riot unit awanotrenwa kupa. I don't know. This is from Dr. Mavaza. Kune signals branch. Kune special constabulary. Kuya uniformed branch. Kuya women's branch. Mkoma deni. Hanzi kune women's branch. Ndeipi yoyi. The 𝗏𝗏𝗃 section is responsible for breeding and training of police dogs. Over the years, police dogs have been proved to be effective in crime prevention. And thank you, Mkoma man. Yeah, no dog section iyoyo. Ya arguti 𝗏𝗏𝗃. Angokopa from ukaenda dog section. Apana unyorwa kunzi 𝗏𝗏𝗃 ipapo. Pakanyorwa kunzi dog section. Saka dzangokopa from the internet. As Mr. Yuda, all those units are there but not performing their duties. Thank you, Maps. Women branch in Bonbatsirai. I've never seen women branch in police. But I was not a policeman. Saka ndopa muna information yangu iri limited about police force. Because I was not a policeman. Saka andina vanambona women branch ku police andina. Even ku PSTT ndakazona kune mwe mukadzi wana ainzi the first lady akakwanisa kucomplete course ye PSTT ku police. Saka hanzi kune women's branch. I don't know about women's branch. I don't know. I've never heard about women's branch. Kadzada kutaura equestrian department. Pamuruko kwadzada kutaura kumabhiza uko. Andizivi. Saka zvinhu hanzi kana na maps kana zvinhu zviripo kana iri structure 𝗏𝗏𝗃, this has never been implemented like this. Anobva ndamboiona yakadai structure 𝗏𝗏𝗃. Kana patai because ini ndakatrainwa ku support unit. I was trained ku support unit. Andina kubva ndaona kune riot branch andauriona. Ndakatrainwa riot control. Crowd control inonzi crowd control. Ndiye ndakatrainwa ku support unit. Andira kuona kutrainwa kunonzi ku riot department or riot branch. No. Andira kuenda ikoko. Andira kutrainwa ikoko. Saka I've got limited information about police, but what I know is what I'm saying here. Andava ndambona women branch ku police not in a day. Andira kuona. Saka izingano dzatsuro na gudo idzi. And the Zimbabwe Republic Police Services to maintain law and order in local areas by protecting members of the public. It is served to support unit as troops. In the troops, they have duties, e.g. PSTT is under support unit sub-aqua, PSTT, and all support troops are trained in crowd control. And one, the very, thank you 𝗠𝘀𝗶𝗺𝗃, I need to read this. Right. And support unit has troops. In those troops, they have duties. For example, PSTT is under support unit. Sub-aqua PSTT and all support troops are trained in crowd control. And one of two troops use the water cannons, cars. No woman branches. Saka amenoti 𝗏𝗏𝗻𝗏 is a women branches muzRP kuti vazowana kupi. This is why I'm saying if you have got limited information about police service or police force, if you need to write an article, sit down and consider that what you are writing here is the actual, because you are a doctor, 𝗏𝗏𝗻𝗏. You hold a doctorate degree and you have done a lot of research for you to earn that degree. It's not a degree that you Dr. 𝗵𝗵𝗁𝗏. This is not my book and research. So those research skills, you must be utilizing them when you are writing such articles. This is where people differentiate. You need doctor, we ask doctor. Has he just plagiarized information from UK police articles? I think so. So he did not make his own research about Zimbabwe Republic Police. So he went on to try to equate Zimbabwe Republic Police with the British police. This is why he was writing about the women branch, writing about professionalism. In the UK, we talk about professionalism. In Zimbabwe Republic Police, you do not talk about professionalism. Has he appeared on Zima? I'm not sure. And in Mona. So he went on to write a lot of things. The Zimbabwe Republic Police, it is supposed to serve the public, but it is not serving the public. It is serving the interests of the politicians. He needs to correct his article. Zimbabwe Republic Police, be critical so that they can align their duties with your critics. Usanyora article yekuti mapurisa vakaiverenga havana chavanokopa to implement in their duties. A critical thinker, you criticize and support where they do right and criticize where they go wrong. Saka zvakaitanga muno UK vanoproduce anonzi white papers. Those white papers, they are used to allow, because anonzi panosetwa a commission. A commission looks into how the police operate. And that commission, vayapa ma recommendations epanoda kuimplementwa. Pova paitwa implemented, also evaluate. So what they do is they assess, when you are like in a commission, you assess the operations of a police force or a police service. When you assess the operations, you critically look into their operations. By so doing, you make a plan for them to implement. And then you give them that plan and recommendation so that they implement the plan. After they implement the plan, you go on to evaluate and see where they are doing right or wrong. So the most important thing is to set up a commission that looks into the operations of the police force and recommend where they need to plan and implement certain issues. You understand? And in England, they call them white papers. And those white papers are now used by the police force or are even referred by the academics in this country. Saka 𝗏𝗏𝗻𝗏, kana vainyora article yavo as an academic, you are supposed to have referenced some of the information he has put in this article as a doctor. Because most of these things here, they refer to the United Kingdom, they don't refer to Zimbabwe. Where there are women branches, yes, in the UK there are women branches. Where there is professionalism, in Zimbabwe, Republic Police, there is no professionalism at all. But in the UK, there is professionalism. So you must reference where you get this information for people to get the actual story. And you want them to be professional. Because no doubt, this is a cry for professionalism that was done by Dr. Mavaza. This is a cry for professionalism. He wants our police force to be professionals. But they can't be professionals when they engage in things that I've shown you. Throwing tear gas into buses full of children. Chasing buses, 75-seater bus, chasing it away. And they caught up with it. Throw tear gas inside the bus. So this is a cry for professionalism that perhaps Mdara Mavaza might be referring to. Saka hanzi namkoma dzangokopa Wikipedia. Anamkoma deni ku police hanzi administration body squadron criminal investigations, internal and peace, police air wing, police support unit, riot signals branch, special constabulary uniformed branch. He copied on Wikipedia as above. And in the morning, so he laid down all this. This is not applicable to Zimbabwe Republic Police. So he just went on Wikipedia and he just downloaded things and put in his article as his work. That is not acceptable, Dr. Mavaza. And can you invite Dr. Mavaza, please, to tell us what we don't know about our Zimbabwe Police Force? I don't think he will engage me, but he's a brother of mine. I've got his number. Let me do it, maps tomorrow. Let me try to persuade him to come here and we discuss this article with him so that he tells us what he thinks he knows that former policemen do not know about police service. And in the morning, Saka, if you look at whatever he wrote, he just downloaded this information from Wikipedia and made it his own information. He was supposed to have even conducted Matanga, conducted the admin, asked the police national headquarters kuti varume munema branches akaita sei nese ukaenda kuPR ku PGHQ ku police general headquarters ku PGHQ ukaenda kuPR kuya vanokupa all information you want kana ari mapamphlets kana vanokupa vanokudzisa zvese police force ine departments akati zvese zvinonyorwa zvese anditi mona saka mdara dzangokopa from Wikipedia dzakutora kunge se story yadzo. This is not his own work. This has been done by someone. Aingonyorawo achinyorawo, but he should have carried out his own research and find out what does the police have as branches, as troops, as departments. And because he went on to lie to us that our police force is professional and supposed to protect the public. It has never protected the public. This is why if you ask policemen today, where is Itai Dzamara? The police has got no clue where Itai Dzamara is. So which public are they protecting? Itai Dzamara was abducted from Glenview kuya nemotikari yakadrive muZimbabwe pamwe achitorohwa achipondwa arimo motikari imomo. Hapana kana mupurisa akakwanisa kumisa motikari yaive naItai Dzamara kuti mirai musei motikari mune noise mune munhu ari kuchema. Hapana. Motikari yaitopfuura nemaroadblocks ichienda. Vana vanonzi vanani? Vana Joanna Mamombe vakatorwa paroadblock mapurisa aripo. Vakaenda vakanoabuswa. Mapurisa aripo. And someone is telling you that that is a professional force. That is a force that's supposed to protect people. Probably Dr. Mavaza is airing this so that ZRP rewind their brains to or rethink about their services to the people of Zimbabwe. What are we really supposed to be doing? They are supposed to be protecting the public. And they are not protecting the public. Joanna Mamombe was abducted at a police roadblock. Itai Dzamara was abducted from Glenview and driven to where he disappeared. But we had professional police who even ignored his cries, who went on to brutalize him, arrest him on daily basis. Brutalize him. One day they left 𝗙𝗔𝗻𝗂𝗧 for dead. These are the same policemen that are supposed to be protecting 𝗙𝗙𝗻𝗂𝗧. But they failed to do that. So their duty is not to protect the public. They never protected the property. Remember, Daily News printing house was bombed in 2001. The police, up to date, they never arrested the bombers. Instead, they went on to brutalize innocent people like me. I don't even know how to make a bomb. I've never made a bomb in my life. But they went on to brutalize me, to say you bombed Daily News printing house. You understand? So police, Zimbabwe Republic Police, is not there to protect people's property. They've never protected people's property. Never in a day. They've never prevented crimes. Never. I've never seen Zimbabwe Republic Police preventing crimes. I've never seen it. I've seen them aiding crimes, beating up people, shooting innocent people, abetting crimes, not protecting or preventing crimes. I've never seen them reducing any fear. They've never improved quality of lives. This is what a professional force should be doing. So if I was Dr. Mavaza, I was going to be critical on those points, on those elements he rose here. This is what we expect of a police force, which Zimbabwe Republic Police is short for. No short for now. And there are a number of different roles within the police and a clearly defined ranking system which can allow for career progression from police constable to police commissioner general. Mavaza lacks information about the rank structure and how policemen are promoted. You do have 10 in from your university. You will see all the plagiarism he has done. I've got 10 it in. Yeah, I'll upload this article for 10 it in. That's one of the plagiarism percentage. 98% in Dara. 98% plagiarism. So you see what he's saying here. This is what is supposed to be done by the police force. And he was supposed to have been critical on this matter. He was supposed to be critical on this matter. And he never rose such issues to say, look, 𝗙𝗻𝗂𝗧 went missing. The police did not arrest anyone from the abduction. 29 Ndira was murdered. The police did not arrest all the murderers who killed people in 2008. So we don't know which people are they protecting, which public are they protecting, whilst the public is being butchered on a daily basis in the eyes of the police. The police goes on to beat up innocent people. Look at this from Wikipedia. I will do that. I'll look in that. And then Saka, he was supposed to be critical on this so that the ZRP improves rather than bootlick them and think he is doing a service to the nation. This is a disservice that he has done. He's talking about rank. Unfortunately, Ndara Mavaza has never worked in the police force. He doesn't know could do promote from a constable to a sergeant. From a sergeant to assistant inspector. From assistant inspector to an inspector. To chief inspector. Ozopinda about superintendent. That progression is not being followed in the police force. Because for you to be a sergeant, certain qualifications. You pass a certain test. Godwin Matanga, and test pasa here, could ashike pa commissioner general. Tikada kuenda kunyaya idzodzo mavhaza, don't write this rubbish again, don't write this nonsense. As Tete Barbara it should be police force, but police service, yes. Until now, they haven't aligned to police service. As mkoma wangu, simba itinzo. I admire your consistency, rambai magadzwanya. True dzanya Tete Barbara, so that some people learn. The people of Zimbabwe lack information on this. So we need Zimbabweans to be well informed, not to be misinformed. This article by Dr. Masimba Mavaza is a misinformation. He is misinforming the public. He is misinforming Zimbabweans. Instead of being critical, because if it is a police service, it should accept a constructive criticism. Mdara Mavaza should have engaged in a constructive criticism in this article, where he was supposed to have pointed where police service in Zimbabwe is failing as police. Quite a number of incidents that they failed to solve as a police service or police force. I've given examples here. We had murders, killings in 2008. Not even one person was arrested. Not even one person was tried. Even just tried to be found not guilty, as police have done their duties. So they did not perform their roles to make sure the public is protected. And the public was butchered whilst the police were guarding outside. But I don't know, abduct ora one police station. Ora wa imomo. Onokandwa kusango ne mapurisa. So who is going to protect the public? Tondera Indira was abducted by elements of the police, CIO, prison and army. He was killed whilst the police watched. And Tondera Indira's board was taken to Roudzivhou police station. The people who abducted him, they took the board to Roudzivhou police station. Isusu pataichaga kuti tondakaenda kuti taifamba ma police stations ese. Patakasvika pa Roudzivhou police station bye. Vakati hatina hapana munhu hatina munhu akadaro panapa. Saka takuenda takubuda. Ndakasara lucky kuti ndakasangana nefriend yangu ndakatamba nayo bhora kudhara akanga ari mupurisa ipapo. Anga atove boss. Ndobva atidaidza Yuda uri boy mfesi kana andiracho. Ndobva andaidza vandu kuno. Akaenda akandiudza kuti iwe pane motikari white yakadeka 𝗠XX yabva panapa. Vauya neboard yavanga ida kusiya pano. But vataura kuti if you want to leave this board as police, we need to take your details, munhu mamuwana kupe and so forth. Hanzi vangobuda vachiridza tsamu vachituka madhara acho vachipinda motikari vachirwa pasi vachienda. Haina number plate motikari iyoyo. Saka angoti hatisi kuziva kuti ndiye here kana kuti ndahasi. You understand? But I'm talking about a board that was taken to police station and the police refused to accept the board. They refused because those people refused to give their details. And they took that board and threw it away. So this is the police force that Mdara Mavaza is talking about, which is supposed to be professional. And they are not being professional. They are not protecting the public. And Saka, he was supposed to be critical on his article so that the police will reflect on their duties and roles to see where we went wrong. What are we doing wrong? Where can we rectify? What should we do to make it a professional force? How the policemen are promoted, he doesn't know. Mapurisa andopinda board baba. Unotoenda unonyora test wopasa. Wenda unopinda board. Board ndoita pa decision uri wapasa here kana wafoira. Ungandaro Gordon Matanga ane maths dzakanyora akapasa. Ku police code wa maths English and science, maths and English. Gordon Matanga hana O level maths. Hana O level English. Hana. Saka na chinonyora exam, anonyora achiti ane certificate recho veteran. Ndiye a commissioner general. Pasi paka hapana vanhu vane madegree vari kutsikirira vari kutonga. Saka there is no progression in regard to ranks in the police force. rengi dziri kupuwa nokuti uri mwana wani, uri girlfriend yani. Takashanda tave nemamazikadzi atati nawo kunana rekurenju waiti ukaritarisa so waita amabasa angofanana 𝗔𝗃𝗁 wekunyora bhuku about idiot. 𝗔𝗃𝗁, I think 𝗔𝗃𝗁, I foresee a situation where people in ZANU-PF, they end up poisoning 𝗔𝗃𝗁, and or else they will bar further production of ED biography, because 𝗔𝗃𝗁 exposed Mnangagwa like nobody's business. It could be 𝗔𝗃𝗁 could have done it under certain influence by certain quarters to say, look, expose this man. This man is a liar. And on 𝗔𝗃𝗁 could have done that, akatobhadhara more money than what he's getting from ED Mnangagwa for that biography. It was purposefully done or wrote so that the truth comes out. And on ndaitaura vanhu ndikati chiri kunetsa chii? Marecords aripo. Ukaenda kuZimbabwe Prison Services kune maarchives, kune marecords ariko ekuti Mnangagwa akapinda mujeri rini. Aripo mabhuku acho, maindex book. Boze index book rera unoti musi waunopinda mujeri unoendwa muindex book wopuwa prison number. Kana wapuwa prison number wapinda mujeri, vanonyora property yako, vanonyora mhosva yako, vanonyora sentence yako imomo. We've got court records which are there, which are archived. So the truth yekuti munhu akapinda mujeri akatongerwa rufu kana sei, zvinhu zvisingafanirwi kutambudza vanhu, bo zvine marecords azvo neprison number yake. Only what people only need to do is to go to the prison services, let him to give you your prison number, his prison number. Moenda ku prison services motarisa a prisoner akanga ane prison number ainzi ane zita rake. How old was this prisoner achipinda mujeri? Zvirimo muindex book ku prison. Mhosva yakatongerwa mhosva yei, sentence yake yanga iri sentence yei, onzi sign apa, iye osign apa. Munhu ari kumuadhimita muprison osign apa, otora chigunwe chake onyika apa, obaya apa kuratidza kuti property yake yotoiswa muproperty bag nenhamba dzeproperty bag rake, otozikanwa kwanzi muprison uyu akuenda kwakati. Kana ari mukondemu maakutoenda naye condemn section. Zvinhu zviri mumapepa hazvidi kuti 𝗔𝗃𝗁 agese. So this is why I'm saying that could have been done purposely to expose ED. And for that, 𝗔𝗃𝗁 will pay heavily. KuZANU-PF kungopuwa ice cream ine muchetura wari wapasi. Saka ndo zvatiri kutaura kuti the work environment is physically demanding. This is what he wrote. Potentially dangerous and at least at times distressing. In regards to being physically demanding, a police officer will need to be physically fit in order to carry out some aspects of the job. Takaona anonzani mudhara chihuri achizvamuka negotsi, obvunzwa kuti ko mudhara chihuri chi, hanzi bhutsi yarwadza. Baba taipuwa bhutsi idzi isati yapfekwa naani dedi, unoibvisa unyowani, inosakarira mugumbo mako njomboya. Hatina kubva tambodonha isi, takamira maparade square neanoyera dedi, hatina kubva tambodonha kana. Saka ari kungonyora mudhara uyu mavhaza. He has got no idea of what he is writing. Maarticles akadai so aya kana uchimanyora under majournalists. Journalists, they know questions to ask, they know research to do. Mudhara Mavaza is a doctor, Dr. Masimba Mavaza, who did a lot of research. And I don't expect him to produce ngano yatsurona kudo yari kunyora panapa. This is far below the work of a doctor. This is far, far below the work of a doctor. A doctor should have done a better research about Zimbabwe Republic Police and tell us where they are not abusing people's rights, and tell us where they abuse people's rights, and then critically analyze this. So I am what I'm doing this is I'm critically analyzing this article. No basara doctor. Ukazata kuzonzwa na Dr. Shepherd Yuda ndo zvatinenge tichiita izvi. Tinyora zvandiri kutaura izvozvo. criticize these articles. We critically look into these articles and the point where Dr. Mavasa went wrong. So we just conclude it's a plagiarized article, that things were taken from the internet without consideration. As Simba Mavasa is not grounded, I can write a better article than him. I really know 𝗥𝗲𝘁𝗄𝗵, I really understand. Mukoma wangu boyere, ndakasimba descend. Ziri say. So looking at what rubbish has been posted here by Mdara Mavasa, he did a lot of rubbish here. He went on to write, over the past 3 years, the police services operated in a climate of increasing scrutiny of central purpose, organizational arrangements, and effectiveness. This was occasioned by the state. The police had fallen in the last days of the old dispensation. This doesn't make sense. This paragraph does not make sense. Even if I read it 2-3 times, it is not required in this article. Over the last 3 years, the police services operated in a climate of increasing scrutiny of its central purpose. He has spoken about the roles of a police. He's looking at the central purpose of a police service. And he is calling it a police service, whilst this is a police force. It hasn't been turned into a service yet. Temba, this is a plagiarized article. He's looking at a police service, central purpose of a police service. He's looking at organizational arrangements and effectiveness. He's talking about occasioned by the state. The police had fallen in the last days of the old dispensation. This was occasioned by the state. The police had fallen in the last days of the old dispensation. So this paragraph doesn't make sense, because if you look at the last dispensation, the police was less brutal than how it is today. If there is a central purpose of killing Zimbabweans, and I'm late, low, not yet, central organizational arrangements and effectiveness. So he is saying all the brutality we witnessed after the fall of Mugabe is that we call effectiveness, police effectiveness. No organizational arrangement there. We should go and bash Zimbabweans by Harvest House. Because what we witnessed in new dispensation, we never witnessed that in old dispensation. Never. Mugabe andina pandakambomuona achideploya masoja kupinda muCBD vachipfura vachiuraya vanhu. Takamboita mariots akanetsa muchiruziva kuma 1998. Kwataiva vanhu kwavaiba mafiriji, zvimaningiri zvenyama mabhucha achilutwa. Can you tell me how many people were shot and killed during that riot? So, is this organizational arrangement, is this effectiveness of brutalizing the people of Zimbabwe? Ndakuradza picture yambuya vachikikwa magaro. Mbuya achembera yarara pasi, nai vana vangu mondurovere iko nemabatonsi chikokoko kuponda gogo. Is that what we call effectiveness? He lacks critical or constructive criticism. I'm not sure why he is doing this. He went on to say the new dispensation introduced various aspects of policing. The police saw radical changes in the structure and function of policing. So, if it is an academical article, if you write like this, I'll give you a 0. Because the new dispensation introduced various aspects of policing. Right? This is what we call a topic sentence. You put such a topic sentence, then go on to lay down these aspects of policing which were introduced so that people follow your structure. It's very unfortunate. He just put in that topic sentence and goes on to say something which is not connected to his topic sentence. And this is a doctor, an academic, a person who did research, who does not know how to develop a paragraph. Because if you give a topic sentence, then you go on to explain your topic sentence and conclude your topic sentence. Your paragraph must say one thing. Here he is writing that the new dispensation introduced various aspects of policing, full stop. From there, as an academic, I'm expecting to see these various aspects of policing laid down in that paragraph. There is nothing there. He went on to talk about radical changes. Instead of giving us these various aspects of policing, he goes on to talk about radical changes in the structure and function of policing. He should have laid them. This or explainer, that or explainer. These three, four aspects of policing, otaura or explainer. Tonzwisisa. Apana zvanyorwa so far, it doesn't make sense. He went on to say the police is very complicated. In what sense? That is a topic sentence. He should have laid down how he feel the police is complicated. He said they do pretty much everything. He said it is complicated. They do pretty much everything. What the police do in this country is adopted a one-size-fits-all way of dealing with the social problem that hits the streets. So this article is a disjointed article. If you read it, it doesn't make sense. Because he's talking of different things in what article. He gives a topic sentence and does not develop it. Achingopa topic sentence. This is a doctor, remember. We don't expect this short work to be written by doctors. Because this is Dr. Masimba Mava. He's a brother of mine. I like this gentleman. Because he is trying. He is trying, but he's writing rubbish. He's writing nonsense. And he at least tries to cut attention from the Zimbabwe government to say, Dr. Mavaza is doing something good. We are not all writers. Honestly, this article shows you why people are not all writers. Zimbabwe, vamwe vanoshanda basa remumatanyera, vamwe vanoita makanika, vamwe vanonoita ivo maauthor. Kune maauthor kuZimbabwe. Vamwe vanoshanda kuita mamanager ezvakati, vamwe vanoshanda different jobs. I think writing is not his profession. He is a doctor. I don't know doctor of what, but I don't think writing is his profession. If he wants to be a good writer, I don't think Mdara Mavaza is old enough not to go back to school and do another degree or just a diploma in journalism so that you really understand my articles. Ramakopa too, right? So if you see, he doesn't mean anything. He went on to write, as the history of virtually every police agent attests, policing is occupation that is rife with opportunities for misconduct. Opportunities for misconduct. Policing is a highly discretionary coercive activity that routinely takes place in private settings, out of the sight of supervisors and in the presence of witnesses who are often regarded as unreliable and obviously biased and aggrieved. Because the police are always in the front line and are the first point of call, they are always accused of corruption. The abuse of police force authority to gain, and in most cases, this is unsubstantiated and it is type of misconduct that has been particularly problematic. The truth of the matter is the corruption in the police primarily is a reflection of the moral defects of individual police officers. The ZRP, among other things, is fighting corruption by carefully screening applicants for police positions and aggressively pursuing morally defective officers in an attempt to remove them from their positions before their corrupt behavior had spread through the force. This is not true, Mdara Mavaza. If this was true, by now Gordon Matanga won't be the commissioner of police. This is not true at all. Because apana mupurisa anobviswa. Apana. Mupurisa kana aita corruption abviswa anosungwa. But how many policemen we have seen vachita corruption? This is not true at all. This is not a true account of Zimbabwe Republic Police. This is not a true account of Zimbabwe Republic Police. And it should be noted that fighting crime should be the priority of police. Then, which crime are they fighting? Going by harvest house to brutalize women. Kuthrow a tear gas, is that fighting crime? It is therefore of fundamental importance to establish and reinforce in the public mind that the major functions of the police are. And you should have laid down the major functions of the police so that people understand what are the major functions of the police. Is this what the police, Zimbabwe Republic Police doing? Are they doing their core duties to prevent crimes? No. And the serious concern is that the result of unfounded accusations on the police force is undermining valuable work by the police. This is dreaming, 𝗠𝘃𝗶𝗺𝗯. There are no unfounded accusations. I have shown you videos. I have shown you pictures. Let me show you one video. Kana pane vanyarikani padhuze penyu maZimbabweans. Video yanda kuplaya panapa inonyadzisa ineka kunyadzisa kainako. Video yanda kuplaya panapa. I'm going to look for this video. Ineka kunyadzisa kainako. Accused. If I find this video, if I find this video, neshikumbira kuti kana mune vanyarikani vari pedyo nemi musudurudzi. No, I can't find it. Let me look for this video sometimes, and then I can show you. Then I can show you. These are people who are supposed to... Let's show Dr. Mavasa this video. This is Zimbabwe Republic Police in the new dispensation. You see, this is Zimbabwe Republic Police in the new dispensation. That old man crying, asi mwana mdiki. Murume mkuru ari kuchema. Pane wanaida kuplaya. Akachema achiti mandi matsika zvombo zvangu. Matsika zvombo zvangu. This is a new dispensation. The police force being touted by my brother, my brother. You see that? This is Zimbabwe Republic Police. See that? Buya vane mwana kumsana vari kurohwawo. Vamwe vari kudonha, vamwe vari kuchoka makumbo vachitiza. This is the Zimbabwe Republic Police that is being touted to be professional. Ndombuya vai ava. Look at that. They can't even attend to that injured woman. They fire tear gas to people, chasing them away, beating them up. So this is the This is the Republic Police being touted as a professional army, as a professional police force by 𝗏𝗏𝗁𝗏𝗏.
Almost empty, except for the security forces deployed in the capital,
And in Zimbabwe.
They said
Third leaf, I am a soldier.
But once again, the government's accused of using the pandemic as insurrection. But some people did ignore those warnings today. Pictures from small demonstration.
This is the Zimbabwe Republic Police.
Able to verify the footage.
Look at that.
The youth are angry, everything. So it's about the people. The people speak for themselves.
It's about people speaking out. It's about people saying out their grievances.
My cat is called Minka.
And in morning.
Now just another inmate in a Harare prison.
Saka, I'm not going to video anaishida ndaishaya, but ndikaiwana that video. I'm happy to come and play it again. So that one, waone murume mkuru achichema akatsikwa engine yakatsikwa unzi tsva achirira mai we wanditsekana ngarikani yangu kandi mai we murume mkuru anditi mona dzvanyiwa engine nti nemapurisa eZimbabwe. Saka 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 vanyora zvakawanda. I'm not going to read throughout this article. It's a dose of nonsense that I cannot continue to dose you with. He went on to say riot control measures are used by law enforcement, military or security forces to control, disperse and arrest people who are involved in a riot, demonstration or protest. These people are hell-bound on destruction, and their destruction is made by a peaceful whip from the police, and they cry foul. Everything that I've shown you, chemberedzi chirohwa, vanhu vakagara pasi vachirohwa, hapana kana destruction iri kuitwa. Yeah, it's blasphemous. It's blasphemous. He went on to write rubbish. Zimbabwe has seen many times people being incited to commit riotous acts to attract a police reaction. Zimbabweans have never been incited. Manzwa maZimbabweans achitaura kuti tikufa nenzara. What incited them is the amount of poverty. No one incited a Zimbabwean to go and riot. No one. And listening to you spending my bedroom zangu. Thanks Eustace, thanks Mfana. Penda mnake kana ndakuya kukonda kurarama kanaka mfana. Nombosvika ndokusudurutsa handiti tinombochinjana ombonipawo mushini wako. Handiti maona. And those who incite people to these criminal activities always stay away from the riots, but send their people to take photos only of the police intervention, which is not true. The people of Zimbabwe are not incited by anyone, but they are incited by hunger. These people are starving. They want jobs. They want hospitals. We are in a critical situation today because of ZANU-PF heavy-handedness. ZANU-PF has never even sat down with these people rioting to understand why they are rioting. These people, they don't just riot, but because they want the government to act. The government must be prepared to listen to these people. So you will find out that... let me look for this video. So people must be prepared to face rioting, or the police must be prepared to face rioting because of misgovernance. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 na George, zviri kufamba here mwana wamai. I want this video. I'm trying to get this video. Ndofunga yakabviswa. But ZANU-PF has been following some videos on YouTube. I think they were paying people to remove these videos. But I've got them somewhere. I will try to look for them and re-upload them so that people really understand what's happening in our country. Zimbabwe, this is so painful. The brutalities that you guys are witnessing today are so painful. And if someone writes an article like this, this is a dose of nonsense. This is definitely a dose of nonsense from Dr. Mavaza. He is just making a loud noise for nothing. Nobody issues instructions to people of Zimbabwe. Even if when they marched to remove Robert Mugabe, nobody incited them. But they were incited because they were incited by hunger. These people, they want jobs. These people, they want a working health system. Ukaona munhu wese ari muZimbabwe arwara, utoziva kuti akaenda kunorara pasi, akaenda kuchipatara, haadzoki munhu iyeye. Anditi maona? That's a dose of nonsense yanyorwa naMudhara Mavaza. Because definitely he was supposed to be critical so that ZRP really understand kuti chi chavari kufanirwa kuve vachiita than to brutalize citizens of a country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you another video. I'm going to show you this video where nobody inside people. I want you to show you this video. And 𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗄𝗆 of 𝗓𝘂𝗃 in UK Masimba Mavaza akavhara vanhu vakawanda mu UK nenyaya yemapepa. Look at this. This is new dispensation. I want you to watch this video to the end and tell me if this is a professional force that Mavaza is singing. Look at that policeman beating this person under feet. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. The wife of a Zimbabwean being brutalized, crying. And someone is saying, look at that. And the Zimbabwe Republic Police does not brutalize people. They respect human rights. What are we seeing here? What are we watching here? These people have been arrested. After these people have been arrested, taken to a police station, look at that. They are being brutalized in front of senior officers. This is a senior officer, probably a chief superintendent in the police force. Whilst these people are being brutalized, please, can you tag Dr. Masimba Mavaza? Because he is lying to the world that this is the police force that respects human rights. Look at how arrested people are being brutalized here. Look at this. Look at this, gentlemen. Look at that. Look at that. What crime did these people commit? They've been arrested already. And they are being brutalized by the police force. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. No one has got right to beat up an accused. Imagine this is being done on the open air. You see that? That is Dr. 𝗠XX article. I'm not sure whether we call it an article, but what do you want us to call it? Is it an article? What is the purpose of this article that Dr. 𝗠XX has written? He said 𝗤𝗏 does not abuse human rights. So I'm refuting this. I'm being critical of the article that he wrote. Most of the contents he put in this article are not a true reflection of Zimbabwe Republic Police in terms of human rights record. Perhaps Zimbabwe Republic Police is the worst human rights abuser in Africa or in SADC region. You have seen this. I've shown you Zimbabweans being brutalized, arrested. There was a black hat officer involved in that madness with a very senior. Yes, I think this black hat is an assistant commissioner. I wrongly said chief superintendent. Because chief superintendent, they don't wear black hats. Chief superintendent, they wear the barathia hat, but with a ribbon here. 2 ribbons. The first one, a brown leather ribbon, and the second one, a golden one. That is the chief superintendent. A black hat is from assistant commissioner going upwards. So people were being brutalized in front of assistant commissioner. And these are supposed to be protecting accused people. But surprisingly, police are committing human rights abuses in front of very senior police officers, like an assistant commissioner, who is supposed to stop them. He never voiced. He continued to, he even went on to brutalize some of the arrested people. And someone goes and tells us that 𝗤𝗏 does not brutalize or does not abuse human rights. So I am saying to my brother, 𝗠XX, your article is misleading. 𝗠X's article is misleading. The people here are brutalized. 𝗤𝗏 is abusing these people's rights in front of senior police officers. And I am going to show this again as requested here. People are requesting to see this video again. I want you to see this video. These are ZANU-PF police officers promoted on partisan line because they support ZANU-PF. Not because they pass exams, they sit in a board, no. So I want you to see this one. He's got a black head. He's authorizing abuse of this accused person. You see, this woman is crying. The husband is being brutalized by police force. And someone says, this is a professional force. Look at the assistant commissioner here. He even took away the child so that the father can be brutalized and the mother can be brutalized. I want you to see this assistant commissioner is holding a baby. That woman's baby. Look at that. He has got a black hair, a black head. And those black heads, they start from the rank of assistant commissioner going upwards to the commissioner general. So he's holding a baby. Look at him. A black hair, a black head, assistant commissioner plus. And people are being brutalized by the police force. That 𝗠XX is saying they're a professional force. If this is the definition of professionalism, then That word must be reinvented. You look at them. Look at this one. People being brutalized. Look at them. Look at this one. People being beaten. And this is the police force. This is the police force that Dr. 𝗵𝘂𝗵𝗁 is saying they don't abuse human rights. This is the worst human rights abuse in Zimbabwe, probably in SADC. We are definitely doomed as a country. So you have seen it all, ladies and gentlemen. Assistant Commissioner with a black hat authorizing brutality or brutalizing of people arrested. These are arrested. Look at that. Look at him. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Someone is being brutalized here in front of the very senior police officers. And someone is saying this is a professional force. Yes, yes. You see that? And 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁, they are in custody behind the Harare Central Police. Harare Central. You see, people behind Harare Central Police in custody being brutalized by the police. And what is Mavaza's Facebook name? I think he's 𝗵𝘂𝗵𝗁. Look at that. You feel shame for these people. Tired of being brutalized, tired of being beaten, pegged in a lorry. You understand? This is all the brutality. You see, this woman again brutalized by the police. This woman being kicked by the police. And someone is saying ZRP does not abuse human rights. This is a very senior police officer. This is senior. This is not an assistant. This is a deputy commissioner. Yeah, this is a deputy commissioner. This one. This is a deputy commissioner. Black hat. So people were being brutalized in front of a deputy commissioner. He's issuing orders when people are being brutalized. And someone is saying, this is a professional force. Look at this mom, pleading with the police, but they are being brutalized in front of senior police officers. Dogs, tear smoke, tear gas, guns. Look at that. Look, the blood is oozing from the door. How many policemen surrounding this man? Killing him. This is killing Dr. 𝗵𝘂𝗵𝗁. My brother, I think you have to retract your article. It is meaningless. Trying to defend this does not make you a martyr. Kana iri nzara mdara. Kana iri nzara. Iyi inenge yanyanya kupinda iyi. You can't deny this. You definitely can't deny this. You can't deny this. Mkomongo. 𝗵𝘂𝗵𝗁. You cannot deny this. Look at that. Ndimbuya vari kukikwa nemapurisa. Look at this policeman vying for that mbuya. Definitely Mkoma John Sham. This is just what has been taken by cameras. What about some of the things that happened behind closed doors? This is why you see a lot of people die in police custody. A lot of people die in police custody. This is Zimbabwe police brutality reported by foreign media. This was reported by foreign media, not by the media we have. This was been reported by foreign media. Foreign newspapers got wind of this. Their journalists were in the country when this happened. This is reported by foreign media. So this is police brutality at its worst. Then, if foreign media is reporting this, well, what about a person who was in UK when this was happening in Zimbabwe? These journalists who reported, who took these pictures, were in Harare when this was happening. Every time ZANU-PF brutalizes Zimbabweans, foreign media, foreign journalists are always there. Foreign media, foreign journalists are always there reporting. I want you to see this. When Zimbabwe is slapped with the sanctions, people start crying. These are women being brutalized by Zimbabwe Republic Police. Look at this mom. Some were left nursing injuries. Some had broken legs. But TV azvibude. Anditi mwana hanzi tini dzoka mukoma ishapiro kwete kutaura uri kure newe unowaziva vanhu vacho kuzoti isu zvedu tingadii. So I am talking mukoma tini, I'm talking about an article that was written by Dr. 𝗵𝘂𝗵𝗁 and was put on social media. Obvious that article will find itself on Google. This is the Zimbabwe police force that he was referring to, that are professionals. And he refuted fact that these people brutalize people, so they abuse human rights. So these are just some shots, screenshots of ZRP brutality. They are beating up people. This is abuse of human rights. So sometimes perhaps Mdara Maviza doesn't know the meaning of human rights abuse. Sometimes we write these articles without consideration. Look at this gentleman. Look at this gentleman. Look at that gentleman. Arikupondwa nemapurisa eZimbabwe. I want this article. I want this picture. I don't know why it's not coming up. Some pictures have been removed. Mpurisa anorova kupfura Ronaldo. Chinozosiyana isalary. Some of them are not coming up here. At least vanhu vaona what I'm talking about. That Mdara 𝗵𝘂𝗵𝗁 ignored. He showed a blind eye. Hanzi onzwa rimwe rume richishevedza kuti Zimbabwe is open for business. It is not open for business. This type of brutality, definitely, ladies and gentlemen, makes Zimbabwe a banana state. Ukada kutarisa all this I am showing here, it's like Zimbabweans, we have come to normalize abnormal things, and we think what is normal, and we don't know what is normal. Those abnormal things, we have come to normalize them. If a doctor, a holder of a doctorate degree, cannot critically analyze the situation that we have in Zimbabwe and give a constructive criticism to the government of Zimbabwe. Ndosaka makuona mazuano kunyangwe tichitaura nyaya, hatichatauri nyaya dzekuita rem or hama Zimbabwe government. We are no longer hammering Zimbabwe government. We are giving them constructive criticism for them to reconsider their situation in terms of human rights record. Koli, how are you? In terms of human rights records, we are no longer hammering Zimbabwe government, but we are giving them constructive criticism to say, Varume tarisai muone, the depth of crisis in our country that led to imposition of sanctions is the human rights, is the abuse of human rights. Ndo pakabuda nyaya yese yekunzi Zimbabwe taane ma targeted sanctions where certain individuals were targeted. They were targeted not because they were stealing. They were targeted because of human rights abuse. Most of the companies that are on targeted sanctions are the companies that sponsor this. Imimi, chidonetsa Zimbabweans, when you are an ordinary person, you don't have time to look into or to read whatever is being said about Zimbabwe. Unomirira kunzwa parari kunzanzi ma-sanctions atiuraya tiri pama-sanctions. You need to have a passion to read. What are these sanctions? Why are they imposed? I've got a video of 𝗏𝗂𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 crying to the world that sanctions must impose on a regime, on any regime that rigs election. ZANU-PF got into power, started rigging election, and they were slapped with the sanctions. They forget that 𝗏𝗂𝗁𝗁𝗁 cried for sanctions. And they accuse people now to say, we are under sanctions. Tsvangirai vakumbira ma-sanctions. It was not Tsvangirai, it was 𝗏𝗂𝗁𝗁𝗁 who said, a ZANU-PF member, who told the United Nations that any regime that rigs election must be slapped with the sanctions, and its people must never be allowed to visit member states. This was said in 1978, before 1998, 30 years down the line. MDC was formed 30 years later, after 𝗏𝗂𝗁𝗁 told the United Nations that anyone who rigs election must be slapped with sanctions. So this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That Dr. Masimba Mavaza wrote an article which is probably shared by many people, and the people read it thinking that it's factual. This article is not factual at all. This is a similar stories that we had when we were growing up, that the baboon and hare, or rabbit and the baboon, are uncle and nephew. And we have tried to establish how the relationship came about. A baboon cannot be an uncle to a rabbit. That will never happen. I can't be an uncle to a lizard myself. No. I've got no relationship with the lizards. Probably if you say I'm uncle to Donald Trump, because he's a human being. So a baboon and a rabbit are two different animals. They can't be related. And these were the tales that we were told when we were growing up. We were never told about the coming of roads to Zimbabwe. We were never told about our ancestors, about Mapako, about Zimbabwe. We were never told about our history. We were never taught about Zimbabwe history or African history or about our heritage when we were growing up. Chembere dzese kumaruzevha dzaiti kana amanhero ayayo dzinenge dzakutokonora chibage dzichitokonora dzichikanga nzungu nechibage tichiga nyaya dzatinenge tichiudzwa muzvimba zveuswa zvedu zvezve tinenge tichiudzwa nyaya dzatsuro nagudo. Hello Nati, how are you? Nyaya dzatsuro nagudo unotitadza kuziva ukama hwatsuro nagudo huri papi. Gudo chairo haringambofira kaita ukama natsuro. But we used to believe these stories when we were young. Paivapo tsuro nagudo. Gudo tsuro wakabika doro. Tsuro abika doro ndobva adaidza sekuru hanzvadzi yamai vake nemhuri yavo. Sekuru Gudo vakauya nemhuri yavo. Tsuro abika doro. Tsuro akanga achida kuti sekuru vake vafe nenzara. Tsuro ndobva apisa musha wake achitenderedza musha wake. Sezvo tese tichiziva kuti makudo anofamba nemakumbo 4. Gudo harigona kunyatsofamba nemakumbo 2. Vana sekuru vakauya vakapfuura nemakanga mune rutsva. Vapfuura nemakanga mune rutsva, maoko avo akaita tsvina. Vasvika Tsuro ndobva ati sekuru tione maoko enyu, zvikanzi maoko enyu mese akasviba. Hamukwanisi kubata hwahwahu pfuko idzi. Endai kurwizi munogeza. Vakadzoka nemurutsva vachienda kunogeza maoko. Vachidzoka kubva ikoko vakapfuura nemurutsva vachisvika maoko asvibazve. Zvikanzi dzokerai munogeza. Vakadzokera, doro rakapera, vana Tsuro nehama dzake vachimwa doro svika rapera. Gudo achingofamba maoko akasviba. Vakadzokera kumamisha kwavo vasina chavadya, vasina chavanwa pamabiko avakanga vadaidzirwa nemuzukuru wavo naTsuro. Hanzi Yuda man, urise shamwari. Del, I'm well. How are you? Saka vadzoka vakafunga zano vana Gudo. Ndobva vati handimaona zvataitwa nemuzukuru izvi. Takati chingoenda tichidzoka tichigeza maoko, hapana paizochena maoko nokuti kuti ufambe nemakumbo 2 kubva kumvura kuti uzonomwa doro uzonobata chikari hazvichaiti. Zvikana sekuru Gudo zvikandafunga zano. Zvikanzi mupanha akangwara stereki toda kumufikisa. Zvikanzi muda kumufikisa, zvikanzi ngatoita sei, zvikanzi ngatibikeiwo doro. Ndobva Gudo abika doro. Ndobva akoka Tsuro kuti musi wakati tine nhimbe uyai munwe doro. Tsuro saka Gudo akatakura doro riya ndokwira naro muti. Maaiziva kuti Tsuro hagoni kukwira muti. Saka manhu ndataura kuti havangaite ukama. Vana Tsuro vasvika. Nyaya dzakatsva. Vapedza nyaya kutsva zvikanzi doro riri muti wakomana. Saka handaitonwa doro. Tsuro ndobva ati koinini sekuru handikwanisi kukwira muti, zvikanzi muzukuru. Ndozvazvinoita, kana usingakwanisi kukwira muti dzokera kumba. Isita kunomwa doro. Saka makudo ese akakwira akatanga kunwa doro ari muti. Vana Tsuro vari pasi. Tsuro akabva aona kuti hapasina changu, ndobva wadzokera nenzara. Kungwara kwaTsuro magenga kuchibva kwapera. Ndongano dzataiudzwa nana mbuya. Hanzi unonzwa vachiti imi mayouth ndimi vatungamiriri vamangwana. Vodzoka voti zvenyika ino haitongwi nemunhu asina kuenda kuhondo, zvinhu zvinorwadza. Hanzi kungwara hake Tsuro hakwiri muti. Handiti maona mukoma William. Saka muri kuona zvainzi hanzi imimi vana vadiki ndimi vatungamiriri vamangwana. Tachena musoro kuenzana navo. Utungamiriri hwedu ndisaifanira kuita kutungamirira nyika nhasi. Ndo akanga ari mangwana edu aitaurwa nevakuru vedu. Ivo havachadiva kuti hanzi kana usina kuenda kuhondo hautungamirire nyika. Hatizivi kuti vadiki vavaitaura kuti ndimi vatungamiriri vamangwana ndavanani. Nekuti isusu vadiki tatochena musoro kuenzana navo. Saka taida kuona hudiki hwavaitaura kuti imimi endai kuzvikoro, dzidzai, ndimuchave vatungamiriri venyika yamangwana. Tichatungamirira nyika ipi? Tese tachena musoro, vari kuramba kubva. Ukadati kana kutaura kuti takudawo kutonga kanguva yakwana, takupfurwa, takurawa, takutumirwa mapurisa, tichizvamburwa usiku nesikati. Handiti maona kuti hapana chedu apo. ndosaka takambovataurira gore riya tikati vana sekuru endai munosungirira nyika iyi payakanga yakasungirirwa, isu tiye tisunungurewo nekuti tinozvigona. Hapana zvamakaita zvinoshamisa zvatisingakwanisi kuita. Handini maona varume kuti instead yotiudzwe zvinhu zvaibatsira nyika yedu kwatakabva nenhoroondo yedu, nekuti zivo kuti nyika inoda maindastri inoda chii, hapana chatakamboudzwa nevanhu vataitoudzwa paivapo tsuro nagudo. Handini muriona. Saka varume hanzi ufunga zvakaoma. Zvinochemedza zvandiri kutaura izvi. Ukagara pasi ukabata rushaya ukaisa musoro wako pakati pemakumbo ogaya kuti tu, ndiri kuenda kupi, ndiri kubva kupi neupenyu. The only hopes left in Zimbabwe is change of government. And that change of government can only come if you and me come together and say, look guys, zviri kuitika muri kuzviona here izvi? This amount of brutality, can we continue with this amount of brutality? Toita sei kuti zviri kuitika munyika medu izvi zvipere? Nekuti zvikarega kupera izvi, hapana kwatiri kuenda. Hapana kwatiri kuenda. Kuti muteerere zvandiri kutaura. Kuti nyika inoi ndimakanzi ndimi vatungamiriri vayo. Kuitawo here uku. Hanzi Zimbabwe Republic Police does not, regaitione statement yacho manyorerwa ayaita. Yanyorwa na Dr. Masimba Mavaza. Hanzi 𝗏𝗏 does not abuse human rights. Mavaza opinion. This is not his opinion, but it's a plagiarized article. That's not your opinion. He's a doctor. I expect him to write his own opinion. And muriona vafana vese hapana chikurwa apo. Hapana inzara. Inzara vafana vese vamuri kuona. Vachitumwa kunorova chembere kumaruzevha uko. Vachifa nenzara zvavari kuita izvi. Zvinhu zvinopisa tsitsi varume. Uyu ndiye first andachitaura ndikati stanzi yake inenge yaRonaldo. Imagine mupurisa hanzi he doesn't abuse human rights. Achimhanya kunorova munhu ari kutiza. The purpose of riot control is to make that person flee. If you can't allow that person to flee, you just want to hate that mbuya. Tarisai ndimbuya chaiwo vane musoro wachena. Vari kurohwa ndare nemupurisa. Mumwe munhu otaura kuti hanzi 𝗏𝗏 does not abuse people rights. Uri kuona munhu akatsikwa musoro nemupurisa akabata pfuta, ari kuridza pfuta. Akatsika musoro. Abva handifungisa kaike kuti 𝗏𝗏 eriya. Ona 𝗏𝗏 mwana waramba kuroorwa 𝗏𝗏. Look at how they dress when they go to brutalize Zimbabweans. Brutalize citizens. Vachifamba nezvimotikari zvakaora kudai to brutalize citizens. Vamwe vacho vachirara. I don't like this mbuya nai. Andi muri kuona motikari dzavanofamba nadzo going to brutalize, vachita majoint operations nearmy, vachita brutalize maZimbabweans. Saka handisi kuziva kuti vana veZimbabwe kana nyika yakamira sezvizvi. Munhu achinyora article yekuti 𝗏𝗏 does not abuse human rights, and these are my own opinion. So I've said the depth of crisis facing Zimbabwe is we write nonsense. We write rubbish. We give silly opinions. Mdara Mavaza, I know you're my brother. Mgomo wangu. Desist from writing this dose of nonsense. Don't overdose Zimbabweans with nonsense. I know there are Zimbabweans who are less to read, but definitely reading this article, you will conclude that this is a dose of nonsense. kombi driver akaurawa musuno conductor aizuzo akaurawa musuno nemapurisa. Saka what we call human rights, mdara wangu Mavaza, I know you are a doctor. Madoctorate aya verengai madoctorate anokupai kuti muve critically where you can give your critical analysis. If you are writing your opinion, make sure that our opinion is yours. Don't write opinion dzevamwe muchingotora muchioda kurova chichino. Toda kutaura panapa mdara Mavisa. What are human rights? Nombodzisa doctor. Dr. Masimba Mavaza. Mkomongo ambokudzidzisai nombokupaika lecture kadiki. Good human rights are rights inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights are inherent to all human beings. Sometimes mnogona kutadza kunzwisisa kuti chii chinonzi human rights. Munofana kuziva kuti munhu wese, regardless of any status that I've mentioned here, munhu wese ane rights ake. Human rights include the right to life and liberty. Freedom chayo is a right. The fundamental right of a human being is life. Hakuna mwe munhu anobvumirwa kuuraya mwe munhu. That is the fundamental right of any human being is life. And in manzwa. So liberty comes next. Freedom from slavery and torture. These are human rights. Sometimes mdara wangu anogona kuva akangonyora asinganzwisisi chinonzi human rights chi. Freedom from torture mdara. Torture yamaona nachikuratidzai hii, people being brutalized by police. These are human rights abuses. So your article, your opinion does not make sense because ZRP has brutalized people in front of senior officials. And these are human rights abuses because these people have been brutally tortured in front of just torture. Saka anonzi human rights kana tida kudzidzisana is freedom from torture. What you have witnessed here, what I've shown you, it's all torture mkomongo. Saka mungaenda kumunhu akaenda kuchikoro, imi muri doctor, mosvika motaurira first year student kuti ZRP does not abuse human rights, whilst they watch them throwing, torturing people, beating up people, and killing people. Munhu ane right to life. Then momtaurira kuti hanzi ava vanhu they don't abuse human rights. I don't think that student will pass. Kana akanyora exam rakaita sei, akanyora opinion yenyu, the student is not going to pass. Ndio ma student amuona achingofoira every time and then. Because we really understand that your opinion is your freedom as well. You have got freedom to your opinion. But your opinion, when it venture into other freedoms which you don't appreciate, then your opinion is invalid. It's a dose of nonsense. You have written a dose of nonsense and dosed the Zimbabweans with the nonsense. This is nonsense, Mkomongo. And I've got, what I'm using right now is my freedom of expression, which is a fundamental right that you can't say this in Zimbabwe. You'll be arrested like 𝗤𝘃𝗁𝗁. You'll be put in prison like Marco. You'll be tortured like 𝗤𝘃𝗁𝗁. Hanzi 𝗏𝘃𝗁𝗁 avaseka achiti anoda ma-teachers ekuZimbabwe. Yeah, akavagona pepe. 𝗏𝘃𝗁𝗁 was telling them, hanzi handiti atouzwa kuti makundikana makudikana kuwabhadhara ini makundikana kuwabhadhara indowada hangu ndivabhadhare. He is telling Zimbabwe that you have got valid teachers, you have got very good teachers, but you are failing to pay them. Unoziva teacher kurana Rwanda, teacher anopuwa $60 a month, US dollars. Zimbabwe upa $25. Saka ruyai kuma $60 zviri nani. Ando ma students akazi na mdara wangu andidi pedyo nemutemo wenyika. Their education is useless since they lack passion about what they go and study. Definitely, I don't know, Eustace, kuti mukoma wangu mdara mumavhaza, what is his area of study? Ndi Dr. 𝗏𝗂𝗁 vanotadza kuunderstand what human rights are. Because what I've shown here, the police brutality is what we call human rights abuses, where people are being tortured, beaten in front of journalists to show them that that's what we do in Zimbabwe. We don't care about their rights at all. So, mdara wangu mavaza, everyone is entitled to these rights. And these rights must be recognized without discrimination. So, we have seen women being tortured, children being tortured, elderly people being tortured by 𝗓𝗏𝗃. We have seen people being killed by 𝗓𝗏𝗃. So we don't understand, mdara wangu, when you say 𝗓𝗏𝗃 does not abuse human rights. Does this mean you are ignorant of the definition of human rights? Or you are just mocking the Zimbabwe Republic Police? Because in other words, we might condemn you. We might critically analyze your opinion and say this is a dose of nonsense, but your intention is to mock Zimbabwe Republic Police. Because what you have written is a mockery to the Zimbabwe Republic Police. You have mocked them. Because these rights that I've said, these are what we call international human rights laws, which were laid down. Governments have got an obligation to follow them. Governments have to act in a certain way or refrain from certain acts. The acts that you have seen me showing you, Zimbabwe government must refrain from those acts. If they refrain from those acts, you can safely say they don't abuse human rights. If they continue acting barbarically, then they are abusing human rights. Zimbabwe police must react or must refrain from torturing people. They must act in certain ways that when we look at them, we say, yes, they don't abuse human rights. But what I've shown you, these are gross human rights abuses by the Zimbabwe Republic Police. So in order to promote and protect human rights, ZANU-PF government must act, must desist, or must refrain from whatever I've shown you, torture. They must recognize fundamental freedoms for the people of Zimbabwe. Particularly, MDC has got a fundamental right to association. They can associate, they can group, they can come together anytime they feel like. It's their right in their country. They are not supposed to be brutalized, but they've come together. And you, the most people are choosing not to understand. Seemingly educated, wise people are saying and writing things that makes one question their integrity. Exactly, Eustace, you have brought the correct definition of whatever I am criticizing here. Ndara Mavaza's articles, especially this one, has put in question his integrity, his qualifications. His opinion does not reflect that he is a doctor. So this is where Mdara Mavaza found himself. And most of my Simba Mavaza's articles are hogwash and substandard. They don't reflect his level of education. This is the same level of education that was condemned by Robert Mugabe. Good, you have got no enthusiasm in whatever you study. He cannot utilize what he studied. He cannot reason to the level of his education. Masimba Mavaza by now should be a professor teaching in the universities. He's a doctor. But I don't think he will be able to stand in front of a class and explain human rights. We did rights as a forensic scientist. Ndakaita moju yema human rights as a forensic scientist. This is why I am commenting much on the rights, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of this and that, right to life. Every human being has got a fundamental right which you call right to life. Awuvumiri kuuraya munhu. Saka uchiti kwauraya munhu unonzenda unohemwa. Iwe kuhemwa kwaunoita ikoko it's not lawful as well. Pandoenda vanhu kumakosi unosaina mapepa kuti takunohenga shepherd because of this fundamental right to life. Every human being has got right to life, which Mdara Mavaza cannot recognize. He's saying in his opinion, he has seen 𝗤𝘃𝗵𝗺 shooting people, brutalizing people, enslaving people, locking up innocent people, abusing people's rights. But he's paying a blind eye. Perhaps he's just taunting the 𝗤𝘃𝗵𝗺 to say, look, you have engaged all these human rights abuses, but you are saying no. So one of the greatest achievements in the world of all the nations is when the United Nations created a comprehensive board of rights laws. Vanhu vakaenda kuchikoro vakagara pasi vakaisa mutemo yema-human rights, which are universal, which are international, which protect every person, whether you are in Zimbabwe, kana kuti uri munhu anogara kunyika iri pasi pemvura. These human rights laws protect you. Ndosaka uri kuona tiri munana UK because of these human rights laws. So every country must subscribe, and all people should aspire to subscribe to those human rights. This is why I am saying the opinion of Dr. Mavaza does not matter. His opinion is an abuse to rights of Zimbabweans. We should be spared of this dose of nonsense. We should be spared of this hogwash article. And he should be ashamed as a doctor, because this will put his qualifications into questions. His integrity as a doctor is questionable. So he should sit down before he publish any nonsense and reflect what people would say when they read this rubbish. Because a learned person's opinion, for a good example, let me give a good example of myself as a forensic scientist. The court, the jury, will listen to an expert opinion. When I go give evidence in court, I give evidence as an expert witness. And my opinion matters in any matter, in any investigation. Because of my qualifications, because of my experience. So, as an expert witness, my opinion is considered by the jury. So, if I'm looking at Masimba Mavaza's opinion as a doctor, his status reflects on what his capacity is. If he shows this lack of capacity, then people put his qualifications or his integrity in question. Because as he is writing that dose of nonsense, he did not reflect on it. He did not see what I'm saying here. That what will the general public say? And what will Zimbabweans say? Victims of 𝗤𝘃𝗵𝗺 say? Those Zimbabweans who worked in Zimbabwe Republic police, ex-policemen, those still serving in the police service, what would they say if they read this? So this is why they say, write things that you understand, that you have knowledge about. Sirai vamwe vanhu vanyore ma-articles ekuZRP, because you were not a policeman. Your studies did not include even human rights at all. So things that you don't understand, leave them. Concentrate on things that you know. If you concentrate on matters that other people are experts on, then you will be scrutinized and people will put you into question. People would ask, how did you attain your doctorate? You are a doctor. You once worked as a magistrate. You don't understand the simple human rights that every person has got right to life. He's got freedom from torture, must enjoy freedom from torture. You must understand this. This is simple. This is universal. Everybody who goes to university, I think, has to study this. That United Nations produced a comprehensive board of rights of law that are universal, that everybody should enjoy. You must be protected. And the people work hard and for years to be professionals, but take a day to lose all that integrity and professionalism. This article, if I was Masimba Mavaza, I would retract it. I wouldn't produce this article. I would retract it. Because honestly, it destroys his integrity. It destroys his professionalism. And if it happens that people come across this video, as I expect, people are going to condemn him and people would question his qualifications. And pamwe doctorate yakakapiwa kwakapiwa chiwenga, could be. Because if you see University of Zimbabwe itself went to an extent of issuing doctorate degrees to people who never studied. 𝗏𝗄𝗁 𝗂𝗏 studied 3 months, got a doctorate degree. 𝗏𝗄𝗁 studied a year, got a doctorate degree. Or less than a year, got a doctorate degree. So, how many people paid for their doctorate degrees in Zimbabwe? Most of these people, we say professionals, we say doctorate, they did not attain those doctorate degrees. They were given. This is why you see the integrity of Zimbabwe, of University of Zimbabwe, is now questionable. Ukauya mu UK une degree the University of Zimbabwe, vanokuti ita rimwe gore or 2 years uri pa university kuti vazoreconverta into a UK degree. Because kuZimbabwe kwane nhoroondo, kwane history yoti vanhu vaingopiwa madegree avasina kana kupasa, munhu aingopiwa. Vanhu vachipiwa madoctorate degree, imagine. Because Mai Mujuru was earning a doctorate degree and Mugabe achibvaisa mukadzi wake to keep the wife kuti akaita doctorate degree. Until now, Mai Mugabe doctorate degree yacho vanorishandisei. She did not study it. She cannot go and teach things that she never studied. Andini mona. Saka no problem yatinozoita yekuti vanenge vakunyora ma-articles plagiarizing. Aya. Vamanyora kudaro vakumati ma-opinion avo. Vakumati ma-opinion avo vakuma-producer. Oita come across vanhu vakaita sana Shepherd Yuda. Isusu we were taught to critically examine such articles and give an opinion. What I'm giving now is an opinion. To say, Mdara Mavaza, your opinion is a dose of nonsense. Whatever you wrote here does not reflect your integrity. If I was you, I was going to retract this article. Unfortunately, once you put things on social media, zvatopera. One can buy a degree, but can't buy intelligence. Ndo nyaya iripo. Saka you find that the foundations of this board of law, yatotaura kuti human rights laws, are the Charter of the United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There is a Charter of the United Nations, pandoine book rakanzi Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This was adopted by a General Assembly in 1945 and in 1948, respectively. Since then, the United Nations has gradually expanded human rights law to encompass specific standards of women, specific standards of children, specific standards of certain people's persons, particularly those with disabilities. The minorities, a good example. If you come to the United Kingdom, we are the minorities. And we have got laws that protect us from this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Saka mudhara haapanzwisise ipapa ndikutaura kuti vanhu vane ma-disabilities, ma-minorities, the vulnerable people, those vane ma-rights, they've got rights that need to be protected. We need to be protected from discrimination. Imagine we are in a country as black people where we find ourselves 60 million people in this country, or 70 million people. Out of 70 million people, blacks are probably 1 million and 69 million are whites. So we are bound to be discriminated and we need to be protected against that discrimination. If you go to Zimbabwe in 2000, there was discrimination in Zimbabwe in terms of color. Those white people who owned farms, most of them were brutalized, beaten and killed. They were a minority which was never protected. The government had power to say, look, this is our farm, this is your man, pick your things and go. Or we are going to demarcate this farm, we give you a small plot, the rest will distribute it to other people who are landless. But the government did not do that. They went on to discriminate against them, chase them away without even compensation. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights protects such people, protect those people, protect their properties. But Mdara wangu Mavaza perhaps does not understand about that. In his article, I expected him to talk about the economic situation of Zimbabwe and critically point to where ZRP role would be. Munobiwa mZimbabwe baba. Mabengi muno ma frauds. Avasungwe vanhu vayane ZRP. Vakasunga munhu vanono bribe. I thought he was going to look into the social rights of the people being brutalized by ZANU-PF. This culture of violence by our ZRP, he should have reflected on that, being critical on it, so that ZRP, his opinion will be taken into consideration by ZRP and better the services that they give to the people of Zimbabwe. Because the people of Zimbabwe, vane ma civil rights ava now. Vane ma political rights ava now. Ma political rights ava doesn't necessarily mean that pavaungana pese vosvika vachipondwa ipapo. So the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is there to protect the world or the people or the citizens of this world from brutality. Saka, the most important thing chachida kutaura Mdara Mavaza, where he wanted to dwell much, are human rights. And those human rights, they're a series of human rights treaties which were signed in the world, which Zimbabwe even became the signatory. From 1945, pachiswa mitemo yema human rights laws. Pane zvakawanda zvakasainwa na Zimbabwe kuti we are going to be part of this. Saka ma human rights angachitaurwa na Mdara Mavaza hamazive mdaro. Kana usati wanyora article yako, sit down and think. Tora mabhuku akanzi critical thinking. Put everything down. Think, is this criticism? Is this constructive? What mapurisa? Pane ma former police officers. Pane ma former prison officers. Ma soldier is Zimbabwe panapa. Vanonyatsonzwisisa chinonzi ma human rights chi. Asi problem yedu ndiye kuti vana Mdara Mavaza kana vakunyora vakuita ngeiyo ndo atanga nema-human rights muZimbabwe. Because kana kurova vanhu ari ma-human rights, then hatisati atanga. So let me finish by saying, Mdara Mavaza, your article is a dose of nonsense. One, it does not promote peace. There is a lack of dignity in your article. There is inequality in your presentation. And that dose of nonsense, please retract it to save your integrity, to save your professionalism. If you were a teacher, or if you were a human rights activist, or a magistrate, or a lawyer, pamunoenda kana kuinterview makuda kutsvaga basa Mdara, vakatora article yenyu vakaisa pamberi apa vakatanga kukubvunzai life yenyu yese hamufe makashanda, because you don't know what human rights are. So you are not employable. You are dangerous, very dangerous person. If you don't understand human rights, you are a very dangerous person. If you think brutalizing citizens is not abuse of rights, then you are a very dangerous person. And what about an article and on a mascot to say 𝗤𝗄𝗁 𝗔𝗂𝗂𝗃? Is it true or not true? Thanks 𝗤𝗂𝗁 for asking question here. Ndaona vanhu vachipopota maskati. 𝗤𝗂𝗁 wadzingwa, 𝗤𝗂𝗁 wadzingwa. Let me take you back. Paka apoenda President Richard Morgan Tsvangirai pavanga vakurwara, Mdara akataura akati ma prospects of survival pa cancer yandinayo, they are slim. Mdara Tsvangirai vakati kurarama kwangu hapasisina. Saka ndichiona kuti kurarama ndina makore akawanda ndiri panyika. Ndaapoenda 𝗤𝗄𝗁, ndaapoenda Mudzuri as 2 more vice presidents to assist 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵. Ndo zvakataurwa naTsvangirai. Mdara vachizonofa. Saka nyaya iri kuitika ezvinezvi ndeyekuti ati mubate ipapo vanhu. Honorable 𝗤𝗄𝗁 havana kudzingwa as vice president, as vice chairperson of the party. Murume uyu akaelectwa pacongress kuti aitwe vice chairman weparty �MDC alliance. Haadzingike, haadzingwe nemunhu wani, haadzingike murume uyu. Ndosaka muri kuona Tsvangirai akatadza kudzinga kupi akazvidzinga ega. Munhu haadzingwe, 𝗤𝗂𝗁 haadzingike nekuti akaelectwa necongress. Saka article iri kutaura, iri kunyorwa navanhu vezanu varakashi vachiti vachamisa vachidzinga vaJobs-Kala. Don't listen to that. It's a dose of nonsense. It's hogwash. Vasikala havadzingwe navachamisa. Vasikala vakaelectwa like vachamisa kucongress kuGweru. 1. 2. Our chairperson wedu vari kurwara. 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 is not feeling well. Remember yesterday ndakati let's put this lady in our prayers. Let's try to help our vice chairperson. Financially, she's down. She's not in parliament. She's not earning anything. Saka nekurwara kwavakuita vakutarisira kuti isusu vana veZimbabwe tibatsirewo nepatinogona. Kana awanawo $10 yake, awanawo $2 yake, tote mai mwezi uno tokuterera imba, amai mwezi uno tokutengera chikafu, tenga grocery chairo chati chinoapa 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵. That one is a freedom fighter par excellence. We need to assist her. Problem iri kuitika ndeyekuti vari kurwara. she hasn't been well for quite some time. 𝗏𝗏𝘃𝗃𝗃 was brutalized zvatikutaura izvi. Vakapindirwa nemasiyaiwo, vakatorwa zvinhu, vakasiyiwa vakuvadzwa. Takaona mapictures avo vakakuvadzwa. 𝗏𝗏𝘃𝗃𝗃. Saka she is our leader. We need to protect. Saka pavasingakwanise ivo kusimuka kufamba, vanoda vanhu vanovabatsira. Position yachairman is a demanding position. Yakada kufanana neposition ya organizing secretary. She is there to travel the whole country to sort some things out. In the event that she is ailing now, kufamba kwacho dzimwe nguva kunenge kwakutonetsawo futi, vaende one place to another, vanenge vachida vanhu vanovabatsira. Ndopamuri kuona pasimudzirwa mukoma wedu oro mudhara wedu oro baba vedu 𝗙𝗎ci uzvidzai, vanzi vavewo one wema-vice chairman, because 𝗏𝗏𝘃𝗏𝗃 has been the acting chairman for quite some time, and 𝗏𝗏𝘃𝗏𝗃 might likely become the chairperson of the party. Saka panodiwa experience ndopamuri kuona paiswa mudhara zvidzai, kuti mudhara 𝗙𝗎ci uzvidzai kuti dzibatsirane navasikala vobatsirana naMai Khumalo. Unfortunately mupati medu zvigaro zvishoma zvinofanira kuoccupiwa nevanhu vakawandisa, but we cannot throw away mudhara 𝗙𝗎ci uzvidzai's experience in terms of administration of the party. Saka that article iri kunyorwa nevaRakashi is not true. It is not true. Vachamisa sa-president vane ma-powers ekuita appoint ma-vices to assist. Va-𝗏𝗏𝘃𝗃𝗃 tikada kutarisa mudhara 𝗏𝗃𝗃 ezvinezvi, he is always in courts. Pano avharirwa, ngodaiso avharirwa, ngodai avharirwa. Basa zhinji rinomira. Mai Khumalo vari kurwara, vasikala vanogara vakasungwa vari mumakotsi. Patinenge taida kuti sikala ashande aite basa, mhanya aite zvakati, mapurisa omhanya otora ovharira, basa rotomira. Mai Khumalo can't do it. Saka panenge patove nevacant inenge iripo, inenge ichida kuti papinde mumwe munhu abatsire, panenge pasina munhu anenge aripo. Ndopamuri kuona pari kunzi vazvidzai vauye ipapo. Deputy chairman wedu vakasungwa vakavharirwa, vanomboita ma3 months vari mujeri, pasina munhu aripo. Apa Mai Khumalo vanenge vachirwara vachigomera vari uko, hatisina chairman, pati haisina chairman. Andimuri kuona? So strategically that position needs someone else to beef up. Kana pasina Mai Khumalo, vasikala vari kujeri vavharirwa, bozi vanongoenda ma3 months vasina kutongwa mudhara sikala ariko kujeri. Paanozotongwa unzi not guilty and acquitted. Achingopedza ipopo next time wacho ari kutorwa futi. Saka panenge nzvimbo iyoyo inosara isina munhu anenge aripo, kuti kana pauda kuti paitwe basa akwanise kuti hatikaende kujeri kuna vasikala kuti vaJob kutora kuti basa rakatiritwe. Job Sikala is a cog. That muteerere semunzu. Job Sikala is a cog in the party. Ndio anonzi mapango anomisa imsha vanasikala vaya. Rikataura so Sikala so kuti wakomana inini ndodengeneka nyika inoi, Zimbabwe inodengeneka. Saka hakuna president akata saNelson Chamisa anokwanisa kudzinga munhu anodengenesa nyika. Rere ibango raChamisa riya. Saka guys, don't listen to hogwash from ZANU-PF. And my stress is Zimbabwe, we all suffer somewhere. Hence why I pray, Vamwe, you will see the need to understand the need to unite and to do things as one people, one Zimbabwe. And the Job Sikala ibango raChamisa, bango rinomisa musha kuti usazungunuke. Saka hakuna pekuti president Chamisa vanozodzinga vasikala. Ipapo pabatisisei. VaRakashi vanga vatofunga kuti 𝗏𝗂𝗃𝗃 vadzingwa. Saka ndazongotora kuti ndi-explain ipapo kuti maZimbabweans vanzwisise where 𝗏𝗏𝗁 is coming in. Nyaya dzatingadai tichitaura semachinja kuti toita mudeme ma10 pounds vanokwanisa, ma$10 vanokwanisa, tobatsirana namai Khumalo. Mbuya Tabita vanenge vachidawo mapirisi avo havakwanisi kumawana in time, dzingwa vanenge vasina mari vakadzingwa muparliament nana Monzora. Ndaona star rally yaMonzora ngaina vanhu 15, ndikati hausati uchabuda ndufe. Zvatokutaurira Monzora kuti havana vanhu, this is the beginning. Saka instead yekuti debate kuti Sikala wadzingwa navaChamisa, ingada tichitodebate kuti how best can we help Mai Khumalo. Job Sikala haadzingike, anodzingwa neCongress. Hakuna president vanodzinga munhu akaelektwa neCongress. And munhu haadzingwa asina mhosva yakapara mupati. VaSikala havana mhosva yakapara yokuti vangadzingwa navaChamisa. VaSikala ibango rakamisa imba inonzi Chamisa. VaChamisa cannot survive kana ndisipo ini, kana usipo iwe, kana vasipo VaSikala. Panenge pasina Chamisa. VaChamisa kuvepo kwavo ndini newe naSikala. Saka hapana paunozodzinga saka uchita kana mumusha makuta makufunga kuti munoda kuuraya mombe, munoda kudya mombe, munotoziva mombe dzenyu. Haudyi mombe yaunoziva kuti iyi inofamba inopinda muforo. Fero! Saka nyaya iripo inyaya yekuti taita problem kuti vice chairperson vedu vari kuve incapacitated nestate. They know how effective Job Sikala is, so they are fighting a war to try to incapacitate Job Sikala. Our chairperson, Mai Tabita Khumalo, hasn't been feeling well for quite some time. She's a very strong woman. Ukuti kana parari nomona achimhanya, akabvapo gara paso bata musoro, yuda mwanangu, munoti ndikurwara. Ndoda mai mamuchimhanya apa. Unoziva Tabita Khumalo ndipo unoona kuti vamwe were born warriors, were born heroes. Mbuya Tabita Khumalo vakaya pamberi pako apa vanoimba vachimhanya vachichuruka vachiita sei. Vozonogomera vavega vararawo. Saka vanhu hatinyasozonzwisisa. Unonzwa munhu akuti Tabita akasimba, vakasimba. Kana vari pavanhu zveshuwa, ndaamai havaratidze. Tabita Khumalo is just like a father and a mother. Nokuti kana ukarwara pamba, haurare kuratidza vana kuti varwara, zvinoshungurudza vana. Mai Khumalo does not show us that she's not well, but we know she's not well. Haadi kushungurudza isu vana. Isusu vana handisi takutoziva kuti mai vedu kana baba vedu vari kurwara. Vanoda rubatsiro tibatsire. Saka nyaya yatingadai tichidhibheta panapa inyaya yekubatsira Mai Khumalo. Kuti pavanenge vashayikira kana mari yavo yekuti vatenge mapirisi tiripo. Pavanenge vada mari yekuti vatenge vashaya mari yekunwa drink chaiyo vada kutenga chikafu tiripo. Totenga chingwa toita sei. 2 liters yemafuta is $7 kuZimbabwe. Munhu asiri kuenda kubasa zvinomuremera. Saka we need to support our chairperson. We need someone to be a cog between our vice chairperson and our chairperson. Panenge parema vazvidzai vanenge vari pano vanomhanya uko. Parema uko vanomhanya uko. Parema apa vanomhanya uko. Vachibvunza VaSikala kuti VaSikala todii. VaSikala vachidelegata maduties kuna vazvizai kuti vazvizai tachikumbira imimhanye mudai baba batai uku neuku tibatsirei pakati. Saka otherwise vazvizai vanenge vachitoterawo vachitonzwa kuna VaSikala kuti voita sei. Kwete kuti vanzi VaSikala vadzingwa. That is not true. Ndofunga ndaexplaina zvekuti vanhu vanzwisisa. Don't be divided. Musateerera zvinhu zvinobva kuvaRakashi. Munobvunza isu vana Yuda tokupai the correct version of everything that is happening in the party at the moment. I'm not the spokesperson of the party, but ndikuona paconsidwa naPresident Nelson Chamisa pari critical pekuti ukatadza kupaona unofunga kuti Chamisa adictator. Anditi mona. Saka ladies and gentlemen, This is 9 minutes to 12. Ndatanga kuma 9. Saka regai ndipedze. Ndarudunuka zvikuru. Handisi kuimba dhirihora nhasi. Ndati inini mukana ndakapfeka military fatigue. Teta kuda kudiscussa more about our defense forces. Kuti chii mapurisa edu vamavhaza vari kunyora dose of nonsense. Vachida kuzama kuhida the brutality of police. Zimbabwe police is the most brutal police force in SADC, which has brutalized, killed a lot of Zimbabweans. Because they are recruited on partisan line, they are ZANU-PF activists in uniforms who bash opposition activists. And someone says that is not human rights abuse. That is not true. So, Mdara Mavaza, retract this or else revisit the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Read it through. Then you would understand what human rights are. For that, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Mese musare zvakanaka naita tenda taonana diri ora iro vano garam diriwo diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo diri ora iro garam diriwo diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo vakomana vano garam diriwo diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo musatambe navo vano garam diriwo diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo diri ora vakomana diri ora rembanje ona diri ora iro diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo vakomana vano garam diriwo diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo musatambe navo vano garam diriwo diri ora rembanje vano garam diriwo diri ora vakomana diri ora rembanje vano garam diri ora vano garam diri ora vano garam diri moudza Mdara Mavaza kuti Mdara nyaya dzema human rights abuses kana musingadzinzwisise siyanai nadzo. Munotukwa nenyika, munoshorwa nenyika, muri munhu akaenda kuchikoro, munofanira kuingenja in critical analysis or give constructive criticism to ZRP kuti vasiye brutality. Mukaramba muchita avaabuse vachiuraya vanhu, vachikanda mategas, vachikwekweredza vanhu, vachiponda vanhu nesvimbo, vachikanda mategas mumabhazi mune vana, then moti avaabuse marights. Saka anozonzi marights evanhu chii? Human rights chii? Vanhu kana vachiuraya munhu ane right to life, ane freedom to association, wosvika uno mukwadabura uchirova kuswera uchirova mbuya vagere zvavo pasi uchikuvadza magaro. Saka izvozvo ngazvipere Mdara wangu. Muri Mdara wangu stereki. I've got respect, a lot of respect kuna Mdara Mavaza, a lot of respect. Saka paunotadza Mdara aiwa ndouya ndokubaya muziso kuti ufunge urizine. You went to school, you are a doctor. And good night. Nhasi dzorara dzichipopota. Dzorara dzakadudurirwa nhasi dzichipopota. Vava stereki Mdara, I don't care. Uri Mdara wangu, ndofanira kutsura. Zvimwe zvamonyora izvo. Zvina musoro. Handiti maona. Good night. Hanzi in alliance now. You have a secretary of diaspora tomorrow. Tisanangurirei basa rasecretary of diaspora. Ndichatotanga kutonzwawo kuti ndiani. Because kuna vanhu vari kungoapoindwa vakawanda. Saka tichatanga kunzwa kuti zvakamira sei. Thanks General for the information. Good night.